Kazari, Brad Watson, Scott Driscoll, Shane Heyer are the four officials. Kopitar against Stepan to begin it. Twisted on by Nash. Canceled free for Muzzin. Played on by Kopitar and taken again and then backhanded in. The first goalie play is that of Lundqvist and then Strawman. And then Stahl and the bouncer out. Muzzin. Tipped in by Gabrick and retrieved by Stahl. The first big hit did not have as much on it as Dustin Brown wanted. The turn and take fails for Pouliot. Dwight King up with that one and back in. Girardi reverses. Got it on to McDonough. Laid back across for Pouliot. Settled down by him and twisted back in. It is very early. Just 1 minute played as this shift develops. And then Williams and offside. But do you sense any jitters from the 1 minute of play or any of that?
Yeah, no, way too early, Doc. And the one adjustment made by Alain Vigneault, the head coach of the Rangers, is that he's reunited Kreider, Stepan, and Nash to start this game. See how long that lasts to start this game 5.
And Dominic Moore is still replacing Brad Richards between Hagelin and St. Louis, something that started in game number 4.
And we had a charade of a warm-up again in terms of predicting the 3-on-2s for the Rangers as St. Louis flipped one that's chipped on over to Pearson. They just put on a show for us, and that's just fine. It always makes it fun to see whether they're actually going to play the way they show in the warm-up 30 minutes before. Taken along now by Hagelin, chipped further and gotten on by Pearson. Pearson emerging, double team, but he got it across to Carter, who slugged it behind. Toffoli didn't get there in time. It's thrown off the glass by Lundqvist, and we get a halt to play as it went out of play. Errol Sutter, the home coach of these Kings, and he gets the last of the line changes. This one is spun wide of Quick and the goal. Wedging in was Nash, thrown by Stepan, but we get a stoppage of play and a hooking call. A very early call, 1:44 into the first.
Going to be on Rick Nash on that initial forecheck. He's the guy that dumped the puck in. It was getting in on Jake Muzzin. Yeah, did not allow Muzzin to get to that puck, and that allowed Derek Stepan to come right in and take the shot, and an early power play chance for the LA Kings.
That's Brad Watson on the call. He's been consistent with stick violations all playoff long.
Power play sponsored by Mercedes-Benz. 2 for 14 are the Kings in the prior 4 games. Doughty, Muzzin. Muzzin got it on. Gabrick with it there. Ships and wanted the backhand, taken right away and cleared by Stepan. Kopitar flung it ahead. Carter goes after that one. Girardi there too. Girardi emerges, left it behind, doubled back, and then it's given to Carter, but then given to Hagelin, starts it back and throws it down.
If Carter would have taken a look at the middle of the ice, he had Drew Doughty wide open because the Rangers were all smothering on that one side of the ice.
Doughty ahead, gains the zone and pulls, firing it back around, hoping for Justin Williams. Williams caroms it back now for the hold by Martinez, given back over to Williams. Williams dealt it back in. Brown with it there. Threw one across, breaking in Doughty, and then he fires. Save Lundqvist. Picked up and cleared by Stahl.
Boy, what a stop there by Henrik Lundqvist. That puck was deflected. I believe it was off of Dominic Moore.
It was.
Edged ahead, and Mike Richards floats it on. Williams with it there. Williams able to float it to the back on his backhand. Walked on across by Voinov and given to Martinez for a shot that is saved. Jumbled, picked up though at the side of the net and cleared by McDonough. 2 shots on this power play that has 22 to go. Toffoli throws it in. Off the shelf to Pearson. Bodied by Stahl. Strawman reaching. A 6-man scrum, hustling ahead as Dominic Moore is punched aside, but then controlled and thrown back out as far as center by Stahl. Angled right back, And taken on now and thrown back deep by Stoll. Jarrett Stoll's pass was flagged down and spun toward the net, but that one was intercepted and thrown back out by Nash, fresh from the box. Angled across now to Willie Mitchell. Mitchell a drive, and it's wide of the cage. Rattles on around to be kept by Carter, and that one deflected wide. Mitchell pinched back in. Had it taken away by Nash. Stepan throws it across, and Strawman leads it ahead. Here's Kreider bringing it on. Tried to get by Doughty, no luck. It's chopped in deep, and Nash has it. Jostled a bit there by Carter. Nash trying to turn. Carter giving his stick a whack, and it's Nash spinning, and that shot kicked wide. To the outside now, thrown back by Stepan, retrieved by Nash, spun wide, Kreider there, around it, fed one just away from Stepan, carried back up by the Kings, jabbed ahead but too far for Clifford, goes back in on the smaller Zuccarello, and the two of them tangle, Zuccarello going down. Back to his feet, trying to play it, second effort, he pushed it behind, Kopitar got to it there for the Kings. Kopitar dropped it along, read though, and carried back up by Zuccarello. A lot of energy, this guy. Plays it back in. Tumbled down on a hit from Kopitar. Led to Kopitar. Quickly across. And the retrieve comes back from Lewis. Kopitar ahead. Played on by Gabrick to the net. Jabbed away by Lundqvist. Again, Kopitar. But Pouliot fed it across. Zuccarello hurried it on. Brassard at center. Crossed off there by Dustin Brown. And it will have to be chased down by Muzzin.
Boy, Brassard did a good job there. He had to worry about where the puck was. It was in his skates, and he knew he had Dustin Brown looking to run him in about the third row. Did a nice job of protecting that puck and chipping it in.
And the Ranger teammates let him know it.
Right back, it's brought by Doughty and left behind. And then floated back out, tumbling down was Brad Richards. Looked like Muzzin caught a stick from Derek Dorsett and reacted to that, a stick around the hands. But we get a halt to play here with 5:38 gone.
Well, a big momentum booster for the Rangers. There's that shot from Drew Doughty off the stick of Dominic Moore. It looks like it's going to the right and ends up cutting back the other way, and Lundqvist kicks out his left pad.
And you get a look at just what he sees when that puck changes direction. The left pad comes up large.
The two best face-off men wear number 28, Jarrett Stoll, Dominic Moore. And Moore prevailed on this one. Then St. Louis, that one went off Hagelin, but he's able to get it back in, and quick stops behind, sets it up for Voinov. Cut off there though, and they try to float behind, no luck from Dominic Moore, and carried back ahead by Justin Williams. Throws one wide of the cage. Around it bounces for Dwight King. Big man plays it along now for Williams, hurries it back. Mitchell, a shot save, rebound, battle for there, drives over the back end, score! It's Williams, it's 1-0.
Well, this play all started because Justin Williams chipped the puck into the zone. The Kings win a foot race. The shot from Willie Mitchell. You have Stoll there, you have King there, and here comes Justin Williams. Gets a stick on it and beats Henrik Lundqvist.
It's the area shoot-in that Eddie was just talking about. Willie Mitchell, been a real star in this series, gets it through. Henrik Lundqvist comes up large, but he can't see through that maze of players, and Justin Williams jumps on it.
Played around behind by Lundqvist. Played back up by Clifford, and that one flown back. Jabbed around further, and Clifford comes in. To a side, and it's peeled off by Stepan. He's closed off. Nash flipped one ahead. Sailed back in by Mike Richards. Nash brought it ahead and fired it back in. Quick able to turn it back over. Left back on now for Carter, and played back out to center. Galloping ahead is Pearson, trying to get by, taken out of the play by Strawman. Stahl flipped, punched away from Carter to the air, gloved down by Pearson, and sent on back to center. Martinez had some trouble there, but then recovered to Matt Green. Laid ahead by Carter. Repeated efforts fail as Strawman, a strong defensive player in this series, was in the way yet again. The Kings recoil. This one goes down, no icing rule, and so Lundqvist plays. Led ahead now and unable to get by as San Luis, and the puck comes near Quick. 18,000 watching the game tonight as a steal and a beat on. San Luis denied by the wobble board, held by Quick.
First shot of the game, what a chance. I think that puck was on edge when St. Louis let it go.
Held there by McDonough, trying to get through. There'll be a penalty coming up. To the box will go the captain of the Kings, Dustin Brown. To the power play, trailing by 1, the New York Rangers.
Welcome back to Los Angeles. The Rangers about to go on their first power play. Dustin Brown rips Marty St. Louis to the ice. Earlier in that sequence, Marty St. Louis gets a glorious opportunity from Carl Hagelin. Jonathan Quick fights it off with his block already.
Go back to the goal. There's Justin Williams. Simple play, right? Get the puck in deep, and then you get strength in numbers, winning foot races, support all over the ice. The guy that shoots the puck in makes the most important play, gets it back to Willie Mitchell. Big rebound, third chance opportunity. That's the way that you draw it up on the dry erase board if you're Daryl Sutter and the LA Kings.
Los Angeles penalty to number 7.
It is held back to McDonough. Handed across to Stepan.
Penalty 749.
Stepan has San Luis nearby, but the pass blocked over by Jared Stoll. Held by Stepan, handed back to McDonough. Across now, one-timer by Richards, got the glass, and bounced on now to Stoll, who plays it gently back down and comes to the bench for a change.
Took a bad bounce off that stanchion to the right of Jonathan Quicker. That puck would have went right back to Ryan McDonough, and the Rangers would still be in the zone.
McDonough with birthday 25 today, rattles it on around and past San Luis, nudged back to Richards, save made and the puck lay there, poked along by Green, twisted on further by Stepan, worked by San Luis. Green tries to regain his stick and play the puck, and does. The battle on, to a side for the Rangers and the Kings, and reaching in, it's spun back for San Luis to recover on. Hands on now for Richards, and Richards looks over the traffic, dealing it back to Marty San Luis, pushed it across to McDonough. Then San Luis again, handed across to Stepan and Richards. Oh, and a rattling shot may have got iron.
Beautiful puck movement by the Rangers. Derek Stepan. That puck was not on his stick very long, and he sent it right through the middle of the penalty killers for the LA Kings, and unfortunately Richards airmailed it.
One shot on goal on the power play thus far, and a bouncer in front is kneed away by Doughty, and then played on back deeper. Brassard couldn't get there. Doughty with a shove. King with the take at the half boards to a side again. Brassard got it to the back. Girardi with it there. But it's tapped back out by Mike Richards with 22 left on the kill. Brassard dropped it on. Zuccarello swung one off Brassard. Played back up for Girardi, who blasted it back in. 10 to go. Dumped around behind for Muzzin. Screened off by Zuccarello. Played back to him by Stoll. Nudged behind to Doughty, and Doughty cleared it off Lewis and Dowd. Box empty. Full strength action halfway through the first. Filtered on by Quick and given up by Clifford. Rescued there by Williams and angled on across. Willie Mitchell blasted back in. Avoided the check of Nash. Lundqvist backhanded one along that escaped Klein. Played by Carter once. Played by Carter twice. Around behind, Klein caught up to it. Whacked into some traffic. Stepping away is Stahl. Mark Stahl handed it on. Carl Hagelin makes it further and then threw one off Quick. Bounced around behind and it's fed around to the front. Moore set it up. Strawman a shot, getting a piece of it was Quick. Swept around behind. Hagelin turning with it there. Carter right after him. Hagelin hoping to get to the outside. Fired one off a skate and on goal. Hagelin turning again and now it's Moore. His shot flexed away by a kneeling Mitchell. It's McDonough giving over to Strawman. Shoots one. That's deflected up. Out of play. My, what action around the net. 9:04 to go. First period of play. Williams goal, the only one. Los Angeles 1-0.
You've done this so many times in terms of the closeout game. What's your coaching message to your teams in situations like this?
You just want to go shift by shift. Don't get ahead of yourself. More about the output than the outcome always.
And after this last push by the Rangers, what do you tell your group?
Power play. You know what? We each had a power play. We each had good chances. Play our game.
Thanks a lot, Daryl.
Yep.
22 years, an NHL head coach, beginning in Chicago, where at one time as a player, he was Eddie Olczyk's roommate. Both of them wound up coaching. Both of them signed their first contract on the very same day of the year. Just different years, different ages. Here's Girardi. But there is Martinez. Through Girardi. Dragged on by Brown. Left behind, and Girardi contends with Gabrick. Follow up Kopitar. Girardi on him. Kopitar rolled off that. Pushed it behind. Gabrick darts after it. Closed off, though, by McDonough. Kopitar stepped into, then Girardi moves in to take care of Brown, who got it to Kopitar. Kopitar has Martinez, looks, and gave it to him. Martinez a shot, fought off by Lundqvist, chested right down, tried to cover, could not, played up the boards. Oh, and a heavy hit by Brown on Dorsett. Out of a 6-player scrum at the half boards, it muscles to the corner, and then Boyle sees it go around behind.
Well, that was a good stop there from Henrik Lundqvist. Martinez took the shot. I believe it went between the legs of Derek Dorsett, who was going out for the shot block, and found its way on top of Henrik Lundqvist.
Well, one thing you're not going to see very often is Derek Dorsett get knocked down, but one guy that can do it is clearly Dustin Brown, one of the most ferocious checkers in the National Hockey League.
Go back to that power play that Daryl Sutter was talking to Pierre about, and Brad Richards had the 2 best chances. Airmailed the first one, second one, up and over Jonathan Quick. They moved it around nicely there, the Rangers.
And Eddie, you've been there before where Brad Richards is. When you're fighting your confidence just a little bit, what's the best thing to do for a scorer?
Shoot right for the center of the net. And you know you're not going to score on Jonathan Quick. Or I should say, there's a pretty good chance you're not going to score when the puck's on the ice. You got to shoot high, but you got to hit the net.
The bouncer comes to Brassard, who turned it back along. Ricochet to the front, dug out there by Pouliot, corralled by Dorsett. Dorsett steps ahead, a couple of Rangers on him, goes down to the ice, and remarkably was able to keep it alive for a moment until help came. This is marched back on by Pouliot, dropped off there for Brassard, and the shot went wide. Not allowing much was Muzzin, who knelt. Tipped around behind Brassard again. He's got a man in front, can't get it there just yet. Zuccarello tied up by Doughty. King moves back, but Klein has it. Then along for Pouliot, then Brassard with Zuccarello at the front. Brassard up with it there, a head fake and control, and across to John Moore for the shot that's knocked down in front of the cage by Voynov. Played by Klein, taken on by Williams. The man with the hot hand shoots one that was steered wide by the reach of John Moore. The bouncer on, it's allowed to go by Pouliot ahead to Brassard, and Brassard lobbed it back in. So now Pearson, then Mitchell, then across. Chopped away from Toffoli and played back in by Stepan. Mitchell will try again. Touched one along for Carter, floated it by Strawman, coming across his stall, punched it along further, and then it's wandered along by Carter and spun by Pearson to Toffoli. Tried to get it to the point, no luck. Rushed ahead by Strawman, and Stepan in a 3-on-2, gave it up the wing, but the pass malfunction for Kreider.
Good stick there, Boyan, off defensively.
Kept by Stepan, tried to play through, could not. Turning with this now is Mitchell. Fan up for Pearson. Checked away from him, and the Rangers will settle it down at center. The Kings are trying to get a change of forwards at least. McDonough works his way along neatly, then tucked a pass to Hagelin, lobbied it back in, and it's sent right back around now for the control and center of Dominic Moore. Lopped high into the air, played back on by Lewis, grabbed off by Clifford. Clifford tried to sling it across, it's muscled on, but then pitched on the backhand of Girardi. 5:50 to go first period. The shots are 6-4, and Henrik Lundqvist's heart beat a little faster, as did those of Ranger fans for a moment. To the bench is Lewis. So now Girardi. Off of Pouliot and back. Matt Green turns away from the reach of Pouliot. Strawman over to Stahl. And back down for an icing. Williams has been impressive in these playoffs. It's his 9th goal, and it's his 2nd in this series, to go along with 5 assists. That guided right back ahead for the carry on now by Stahl, and the shot shrugged away by Quick. Right after it, Stahl knifed away now for Williams, and Williams posts it out to center. Slowed down there and then lobbed on back, can be controlled back to Doughty by Williams. Williams going for his 3rd Stanley Cup. He was with Carolina in 06 and scored an empty net goal late in the 3rd to start the party in Raleigh. Klein gives it on across, and it's brought back on by John Moore. Sent bouncing off the paraphernalia of Quick. Meanwhile, a couple of players cancel, and Carter plays to Pearson off to Foley. And a big off from the crowd as that chance looked better than it turned out to be. Martinez hands on now for the carry by Pearson. Moves back up with Toffoli again. Toffoli charges after this with McDonough. Pearson tried to chop it along. McDonough said no. Came up now for the battle at the half boards, and it's carried up by Stepan and laid ahead now to Kreider. Kreider dragged it in, and an onside play. Stepan a shot. Blocked out by Quick, and he sprawls out to cover it up.
He's been so consistent and so reliable.
Here is Stepan with a shot, and that blocked. Following up, though, is Rick Nash. Nash laid it along further. It's tipped behind for Stepan. Stoll defending. The feed out in front, jammed at by Nash on the backhand, and it careened off a King's skate into Jonathan Quick.
Well, Eddie, you know, this is where the Rangers need to work behind Jonathan Quick. They were tremendous at it in game number 1, but for Rick Nash, that force field is still up in front of Jonathan Quick. He tries to handle that puck, but you see he's off balance. He can't get good wood on it, and it's a routine save for Jonathan Quick. Handle the puck clean. He can't. It's almost like his confidence is null and void, Eddie.
Keep going to those areas. Something good's going to happen for Rick Nash. As we mentioned about Brad Richards, you got to shoot for the center of the net if you get an opportunity. But if you're Rick Nash, you keep going to those high traffic areas. Most dangerous area on the ice is the middle.
Girardi a shot, and that one ricocheted off a skate wide. Laid back out again by Dustin Brown. And it comes on to Gabrick. The leading goal scorer in these playoffs had trouble with the linesman's skate, and it's flopped on out, and then we get a halt to play.
Well, only 6 shots on goal for the New York Rangers, but just sitting up top here and noticing some opportunities. There have been some rebound opportunities for the Rangers, second chance opportunities. So if you're a player without the puck, and you know the puck is going to be shot towards Jonathan Quick, you got to find yourself to the middle of the ice. You got to go to school.
Taken along by Brown, and the shot deflected away by Stoll. Stoll pushed it up. Brown got it there, and then started ahead. Lob back in to the Matt Green corner. Green touched it on, settled down by Toffoli. Big collision back near the netminder Quick. Taken along by Kopitar, left behind, and it's Richards pushing it ahead, but unable to accelerate and move back in was Dorsey. The first 5 shots in the game came from the Kings. The Rangers have had 6 of the last 7. 1-0 on the goal by Williams. A stalemate at center, and now it is McDonough. In the last 2:50 of the first. Directed across by Pouliot, flagged by Green, circle to circle to Martinez. And Martinez banked one along that's sent back in by Pearson, collared by Lundqvist and forced just away from Carter. Pouliot to center.
7th time in this game that Henrik Lundqvist has made a play on the puck. Kane's got to do a better job and keep it away from the goaltender.
Zuccarello to Klein. Oh, and that one got the glass, and a collision into Quick will bring a penalty to the Rangers.
Going to be on Benoit Pouliot. Jonathan Quick was well out on top of the blue paint. Pouliot's coming into your screen right there, 67 in white. There's Quick, and there you see Pouliot making contact with Jonathan Quick. Goaltender interference.
And he got him in the head. He knocked the mask right off him, so there's not a lot of embellishment there at all from Quick.
But certainly major contact in front of the net of the LA Kings. Benoit Pouliot was going to the net. He was looking out to see where the shot is coming from. And next thing you know, here comes Jonathan Quick. He's already there. But again, you have to have the understanding of where the goaltender is positioned, whether he's in the blue paint or not. You have to have respect to try to avoid contact with the goaltender. The right call made on the ice, but in Pouliot's defense, he's looking to see where that shot's coming from.
To the back it comes to Doughty, handed on across. Kopitar delaying, deals it back into Gabrick, gets it back again inside the 4-man defensive box. Carter sent across to Doughty. Drive, save made by Lundqvist. Doughty to Muzzin, across to Gabrick, off the stick Brushed right back along again and returned to him by Carter. Twisted on the backhand to Muzzin. Then Gabrick, then Kopitar, then Carter. And around behind watch by McDonough. Carter angles it on back. Muzzin with it there. Usually goes to Doughty, sure enough. Walked across by Doughty and given to Gabrick. Tried to play one, it's towed away by Girardi. Jam play at the front. Bounced around to Kopitar, and he gets a little more space, dropping to Gabrick. He's got Carter right near the front of the net. It's handed on to Kopitar. Kopitar to Gabrick. Had trouble controlling. Watching and kneeling is Girardi. Blocked that one. Kopitar again has this from Gabrick. Lays it on back to Muzzin. Brings it on over. Doughty had a stiff pass there and was challenged well by Stepan, who whacks at him a couple of times, and it caused him to give it up, so it can be cleared.
Penalty on Doughty here, Doc. Not a good penalty at all by Drew Doughty. Behind the play, he turned the puck over. He tried to force the play back to the point. And after Derek Stepan did a great job of taking away the passing lane, Drew Doughty gets a stick up on Derek Stepan. He feels it, and he goes right down. Not a good penalty at all, especially on a power play.
And that's an in-series adjustment by the Rangers, where Doughty and Muzzin were able to dictate the terms along with Willie Mitchell from the back end for the Kings in games 1 and 2. Rangers have been much more effective taking away the defensemen of the Kings through the last 2 games.
This comes to Mitchell, and Mitchell pivots in 4 against 4, the 4th occurrence of it in the final. 2 minutes and 39 prior seconds, and neither team has scored this way. But it is Williams ahead in the last half minute of the minor to Pouliot. Stralman to play it there. Chopped away from him by Stoll. Gathered in by Stahl. And Stahl able to bring it ahead, handing on over now to Brassard. Brassard sent it across. Zuccarello had trouble with that, but circles around behind and has full control. To the back now, Stralman. Stralman holding in the last 10 of 4 against 4. Off of Williams and back out. In 3 seconds, it's a power play for the Rangers that will last 1:13. So now the man advantage. St. Louis hands it over. Stashed across for Stepan to play. Canceled out though by Dustin Brown. And Brown drops it on back. Green connects over to Muzzin. And it's back. Had to be stopped. So the first period, as the fans rise, is over. Shots were 7-6 Kings. They still have 49 to kill at the start of the second. And that's the goal scorer. Mitchell blasts it back in. Well, the Kings thing is, first of all, kill the penalty. What about the Rangers this period, Eddie?
Continue where they left off in that first period. I thought they got stronger as that period went on.
Directed in by Kreider and stopped by Quick. Blasted along by Mitchell, and a headhunter goes back down.
Good setup there for Quick. Keep the puck off the boards. Allow Willie Mitchell to be able to shoot it down all the way.
22 to go on this man advantage. John Moore weaving his way along. Rattle it around on the Mitchell side. Brown directed it on as he was hit. Meanwhile, it's Kreider punching it along. Thrown on by Kopitar. Settled down by Brown. Brown a shot, and that one blocked right down and taken by St. Louis. To the last 3. On to Kreider. Penalty time up. The block by Brown. The play by St. Louis. Swept along by Brown. It careened to Muzzin and then Doughty. Tried to shuffle it on and did, but St. Louis kept it alive. Drew one that Doughty could close his legs on and fly back along to center. Stralman able to play it along there, but Kopitar slowed it down and pitched it back off Stralman, but already in was Brown and an offside. Will he be receiving a trophy at the end of the night? Or will this all go back cross-continent again to New York with 2 days off this time and Monday night? Flexed back by Brassard, played on by Klein, gotten by Zuccarello. And right back into the McDonough side of the ice. Not the normal one, but one he'll play. And round this is taken on now by Brassard, and a shot into the catching glove of Quick. Rangers look out at this faceoff that pops free and is drubbed along the boards, where it can be backhanded on by Williams and slipped on across by Stoll. St. Louis defended out of that play, but pitched one along that is steered back up to Williams again. Williams with a shot, caught chest high and just held by Lundqvist. The farm teams of Dallas and Winnipeg competing for the American Hockey League Championship. A soft knock down, side of the net, tried to play by Clifford, and along now for Lewis in front, jamming is Clifford, and emerging and starting back up now is Stepan. Stepan forced it on, Kreider tried to play it through, could not. Muzzin saw it flexed up high. Hoisted along by Mike Richards, just out of harm's way to center. John Moore turning with it there. It was a long time ago, seemingly, that Williams scored. 6:04 elapsed time in the first period an hour ago. And that has been the only score. And there's only been one shot in this period. Here's Dominic Moore taking it along, trying to yank it along. San Luis turning with it there. Went down, puck squibbed loose. Kopitar able to move it back up ice. Kopitar moves on and hands to Brown. Pulls off and shoots one into the catching glove of Lundqvist. And again, play is halted.
That play started because Kyle Clifford did a great job on Marty St. Louis in his own defensive zone to create that chance for Dustin Brown. There's a little drop pass there from Kopitar. Easy save for Lundqvist.
And Eddie, this is what you're talking about, the chance. Look at Kyle Clifford. What a sequence for him. The chance down low, opportunity. And he did a great job defensively against Marty St. Louis. Good sequence for Kyle Clifford. Pretty efficient player for the Los Angeles Kings.
That one hacked across, and Hagelin drops it off. Carried back on by San Luis. San Luis wanting to get a shot in front. No luck because of Muzzin's lean. That comes to King, and then to Williams, and then back out. 3:15 gone, second period of play. 1-0 in favor of the Kings. If they go on to win, the Stanley Cup will be handed out tonight. Kicked onto the back, John Moore, a shot deflected down and blocked. Another bad angle tried to not work. Loose puck in front, poked all around like a jumping bee. It comes back to John Moore. Played on for Richards. Backhanded one further, got tangled up with Stoll. Played back out by Doughty and regathered on the pass from Williams. Doughty brought it ahead with King breaking to the net, and his shot is deflected up high and out of play.
Well, one guy who has been very noticeable offensively for the New York Rangers has been Brad Richards. The shot from Johnny Moore, the redirect, look at quick, moving one way and then just missing the far side. But Brad Richards all around the puck offensively. The puck is finding him. Remember earlier in the first period, it found him on the power play. Here come in the middle of the net looking for a redirect. Close call there for the Rangers.
And he's doing that on purpose. That's just not a fluky play. He's trying to pull that puck to the right of Jonathan Quick.
From this tie-up, emerging is Stralman. Backhands it along, hoping for Pouliot. Wiped out by Green, and the puck goes back down. So Martinez smoked out, and a little pass is shot down and taken on by Zuccarello. Zuccarello spun it along, hoping for Brassard, but it goes over to Stralman. Stralman pumped it around behind. Brassard turning with it there to the outside. Brassard dropped it back along for Pouliot. He's got Zuccarello behind, and he got it to him. Zuccarello wanting to come out. Backhander save made by Quick. Rebound. Cleared back down. Stahl after it. After him is Toffoli. Shuffled on by Stahl. Taken by Carter and thrown. That went off Pearson and is angled back for Mitchell.
Zuccarello needs a change. He's completely out of gas coming off the ice.
And that is substantial energy that has been drained, at least for now. Kyle Clifford brings it ahead and escapes. It's Clifford denied by Stahl. Follow-up whacking at it as Mike Richards can't get a shot away. Willie Mitchell back ahead for the loft back in by Clifford. Stahl to play it there. Shouldered by Mike Richards. Half boards, it comes to Voinov, and the shot block. Trying to get to the front was Clifford. Thrown bad angle by Lewis. Blocked back over, and Clifford steps to it. Lays it to the back. Voinov trying to keep it alive, and they rule he did not.
The Kings, for the most part, have managed the puck pretty well here. Alec Martinez flushed out there by Matt Zuccarello, as you mentioned, Doc, and the next thing you know, Zuccarello has a great chance. Another rebound given up by Jonathan Quick. Good play there from Zuccarello on the wraparound.
So if you're at the Rangers bench and you're a goal scorer and you're down by one and you see that, you've set off and go to school.
Oh, you got to get there. And we always focus in on the puck carrier, but really the more important guys are the guys without the puck. You got to get inside the dots. Yeah, you might take a stick, you might take an elbow. It's going to feel awfully good if you can get a second chance opportunity. So guys without the puck have to know that the puck is going to get to the net.
Here comes Brown. Brown a shot. Oh, and it's trapped by Lundqvist. Down goes Dominic Moore. Does not like that. Cannot blame him.
Beautiful change of pace by Dustin Brown. Coming down these right wing boards. It just accelerates in, causes separation, and Lundqvist not too sure where that shot was after he stopped it.
Hasn't been an easy season for Dustin Brown, both in the National Hockey League and also at the Olympics. But man, oh man, as he found a way to get some confidence this playoff season for the Los Angeles Kings.
The goaltender the Kings are shooting on, you may remember from the gold medal game and others, Henrik Lundqvist of Sweden. Jonathan Quick was magnificent for Team USA. As Doughty lets a shot go that ricocheted wide off Gaborik. Dumped back along, and it is slowed down by Kopitar. Jostled down to the ice by Dominic Moore, and it started ahead. Deflected away from Hagelin by Doughty. Carried on by Gaborik, gloved down by McDonough, and sent across to Girardi. Again, it is Muzzin in tandem with Doughty. The Kings defense, and it set off the short glass. Trying to play it along on the turn was Brown, no luck. Kopitar trying to back into control, did not have that. Dominic Moore gave it up to Muzzin. Right back along, it is carried by the Kings, and they gain the zone. Gaborik over to Brown. Fed for Gaborik, but off his stick. A dominating sort of defensive shift by Moore. Yeah, jostled down, and rather than retaliate, became very responsible, and for that reason canceled out a chance. Here's Green lobbing one back in. Klein twists it behind. John Moore with it there. One strike away from a tie game or a 2-0 lead. Rubbed out was Dorsett. Thrown back along in traffic by Green. Punched back by Stoll. Guided over to Williams. Williams pulls and swings one that bounced off John Moore. Played along by Klein around to Stoll. Save made by Lundqvist. What a turnover there. And a great chance. Williams turns it along. King got it there, to the back for Mitchell, rifled it around behind, but it is taken at the half boards by King, handcuffs Stoll with it, and so it is Mitchell. 7 minutes played, second period. Brad Richards the defender, but it's played through to Williams, nudges onto Carter with an opening. Carter around behind with it, tucked it through the crease. Onto the back now, Voinov. Voinov, side of the net, hope to play to Carter, no luck. Turning with it, slowing it down, Williams shot. And that one is blocked up high and out of play from the stick of Willie Mitchell.
All I know
but we congratulate him.
Back-to-back 65s.
Save Lundqvist paddled around behind on the hard drive from Toffoli.
Bad turnover by Dan Girardi.
Giving up the wing for Kreider. And Kreider jostled off by Doughty. Centering pass for Nash failed. Scooped up by Muzzin. He moves the head and then gets help from Pearson. Pearson flung one off McDonough to get it. Toffoli's got Pearson moving to the net, ladled it behind, and so Nash can slow that. Stashed it on ahead, and in flight and taking it on is Kreider. Nice denial by Muzzin. Follow-up, though, by Stepan. And the shot blocked down, and Stepan around behind, had it tapped away by Muzzin, and lobbed on out again by Toffoli. Not much has been allowed. 4 shots, Kings. And 1 shot for the New York Rangers in this period. It is Zuccarello, a drive and a save made by Quick. Lobbed on out to center. In flight with it is Clifford. A shot turned aside by Lundqvist after a beautiful move by Clifford, and he's got it again. Clifford circling with it now. Forced off to the boards, played it on to Lewis with Mike Richards in front. Couldn't get it there because of Stahl, who shoves Lewis down and gives him an extra. And we have a halt to play and a signal animatedly for a faceoff.
Boy, what a power move here by Kyle Clifford. Looks like he's going to the outside, brings it to the inside, all in one motion here, and creates a high-quality scoring chance.
And Eddie, as we go along in this game, the fourth line of the Los Angeles Kings, Kyle Clifford, Mike Richards, doing a great job along with Trevor Lewis of pushing the pace. It brings me back to 2011, the fourth line in Game 7 of Boston. Gregory Campbell doing a great job with Danny Paille and Sean Thornton. We just had live legs.
This is Mitchell chased off by Hagelin. Tried to play it through, kicked it along, and just willed it on his stick. Carried back up by Williams again. Williams watched by John Moore, and the shot is deflected up into the mesh. Play halted. Dustin Brown will come in and poise for the faceoff is his teammate Anze Kopitar with Stepan, who wins it. Wound by McDonough across. Nash threw it back out, got out of the way of the hit he knew was coming from Brown. Rattled off the glass, Kopitar with it. Kopitar watched there by McDonough, angled it back, Doughty with a shot! And that one blocked out in front, played along by Nash, given up to Kopitar, and back in deep it's Brown. Girardi there to meet him. Brown goes down to the ice, weaving his way in was Kopitar, muscled along by Nash. Kopitar jabbed one along further that's off Stepan, picked up by Nash, swept onto Stepan, given across to Kreider, flexed at it, and is able to pump it back deeper and collides with Doughty. That's a lot of hard work for just a few yards. Lifted along by Kreider. Sent back by Zuccarello, and a feed in front for Stralman, who couldn't take it because of a tip that came from Doughty again.
Good try there from Stepan at the end of the long shift.
It comes to McDonough. Settles it down to Stralman. And Stralman blasts it back in. He had to wait for his teammates to get onside before doing that. It is twisted along behind, but into Doughty, and scaled out of play on a deflection. No penalty.
Coach, this playoff season, you're averaging 29 shots per game on goal. You only have 8 so far. How are you going to manufacture more chances?
Well, there's not a lot of shots on both sides. I mean, right now it's a real tight check in hockey. You got to stick with the process, stay high percentage. Sooner or later, somebody makes a mistake, and then you can jump on it.
Thanks very much, Alain.
Thanks, Pierre.
To get to the Stanley Cup final, but take advantage of opportunities in the offensive zone.
Zuccarello to Pouliot, brushed it along past Green. Zuccarello behind Brassard, popped one in the air. Green trying to fidget it loose, threw it along, and Stralman was there. Off Pouliot, off Brassard, but he recovers and had it knocked away by Mike Richards.
You can be good defensively and check defensively when the puck is 200 feet away from your own zone. We just saw a good example of that with the puck in the offensive zone.
Long toss, ricocheted off Zuccarello, who comes to the bench for a well-earned rest. It is Mitchell. Carefully to Toffoli. Too far for Pearson. Toffoli bunted it back off Carter, and then Girardi. And then Boyle with an opening, and a drive is deflected up high, and then Boyle sent down to the ice. National Hockey League. Former captain of his team there. A broken stick, though, and this goes around behind, jostled a bit, but turning along to the outside was Dorsett. McDonough gave it across, held there by Girardi. McDonough shovels one, jammed loose in front. Oh, and it would not go as Spaulding was quick. Losing sight of the puck, the referee blew the whistle.
Well, we were talking about the fourth line for the LA Kings a little bit earlier. Now it's the fourth line for the New York Rangers. Bad scramble in front of the net. Willie Mitchell just ties up the stick of Brian Boyle. Watch this defensive play. Here comes Boyle. Puck is on edge, and look at Mitchell. Great job of tying up the stick, even though Boyle gets a second chance opportunity.
That's some kind of team defense. You also have Justin Williams back there helping out as well.
That's a huge play by Willie Mitchell. That's why you want all of your players to have your stick down on the ice, because if his stick's around his waist, maybe he takes a penalty, and then Boyle gets a cleaner look with another rebound given up there from Jonathan Quick.
Experienced guy, 37 years of age. Former Albany River Rat in the American League. Played quite a bit in New Jersey and Minnesota.
4 years for Alain Vigneault in Vancouver as well, Doc.
Ahead with this now comes Kreider. Motors on and hands it across. It's Nash. Off his stick, though, on the lean that came from Muzzin. Clifford played it back in. Clifford's had the puck coming to him a lot. And around behind.
It is the 13th of June.
It
is a Friday.
That's right. Brought back ahead now and carried on by Kreider. Dropped on back further for a shot by Stepan that's blocked away by Kopitar. Brown back. Kopitar nudged it ahead. And lobbed back in. 47 years old is this franchise. The Los Angeles Kings won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago, winning in 6 against New Jersey. This one is breezed wide. Hagelin stepped into there. This one kicked across and is settled down, and then, Gabrick nearly gave it away to San Luis. And Henrik Lundqvist blocked and played. Stralman to Dominic Moore and across to Hagelin. Hagelin denied but keeps going. Backhanded one that is flagged down by Dominic Moore. Tucked back to Hagelin. Jammed one on the backhand wide. John Moore rattled it around. Left behind by Carter. Floated along for the glove down by San Luis. San Luis trying to work through. Helmetless now is Hagelin. Still working, and the helmet tangled up in the play. It is thrown by Mitchell and hoisted along by Toffoli as far as center. Under 7 minutes to go, second period. The lowest score you can have one. 1-0 Kings. A shot is shrubbed high by Lundqvist on the try by Pearson. Jostled off by Pouliot. Pulled free by Pearson. Threw one off Lundqvist from a bad angle. Played on by Green and a shot. Blocked and then covered by Lundqvist again. Stoll ties up with Brassard. It's squibbed free near Williams. Guided along backhandedly by Girardi and sent back by a backhand of Brassard. Rattled back and it careened up the half boards. Reaching as Williams, playing as Pouliot, keeping his Stoll, and it came behind for Lundqvist again. Paddles it carefully to McDonough, then outletted by Brassard onto Zuccarello. And Zuccarello backhands it in, chasing it down is Matt Green. Green run into effectively by Pouliot because the puck goes back across from Zuccarello, but flagged by the Kings. If they hurry at 3-on-2, Stoll moves and shot one that's blocked down by John Moore. Nudge back up now to Brassard, and Brassard sees teammates going to the bench for a change, and a penalty coming up. Dwight King got the penalty, the Rangers the power play.
Matt Zuccarello has drawn 5 penalties in this series, and there's another one. Dwight King, Aaron Stick. Opportunity for the Rangers on the power play.
Enterprise power play spun off his own net by Muzzin and cleared but not out. Sent to the back, nice twirl there by McDonough. McDonough dips the shoulder, he's got Kopitar nearby and misfires on the pass. Crowd buzzing a little bit on that play made by Muzzin. Sometimes it happens, but in the Stanley Cup final to have an own goal, not cool. San Luis gave it up to Kopitar, and another misfired pass for the Rangers while on the advantage. Third power play of the night for them. Empty on the prior two. Carried ahead by Stepan and given to San Luis. Steams it around the boards. Green did a defensive number on Kreider, and a shot ricocheted off the kick plate and went up high. Rattled along off of Green, but into a tangle. San Luis turning with it there. San Luis gave it to the back now, and it's Richards handing it across and getting it there once more. It is Stepan. Stepan holding. San Luis trying to pull free. Drive by Richards, and a save made through a screen by Jonathan Quick. Jabbed on further, nudged back by San Luis, played by Richards. Dealt on to Stepan. To the last 35 of the power play. Stepan to the back. Richards there. Side of the net, gave it over. For a pass. Score! Kreider! A power play goal! And the game is tied.
Talked about the adjustments back in New York in Game 4 where the Rangers got the puck down low. It drops down the penalty killers, and it eventually you can start running a lot of different looks. And here Ryan McDonough drops down. The Rangers shooting out high, and then Chris Kreider has a wide open net.
And Jerry York, his former coach at Boston College, will love that, and so will you, Eddie. Stick on the ice, present the target, and Ryan McDonough gives it over to Chris Kreider. That's a Wisconsin, a Boston College finish, and the Rangers are back in this thing.
Boy, what a play. And the power play for the Rangers has been really good here in Game 4. But the slight little adjustment, shoot from out high, and then get the puck down low, get the Kings in between, and Kreider has a wide open net. Strength in numbers in front of the net. Show that target. Good hard pass, and no chance for Jonathan Quick on that back door.
Muzzin back in. Stahl tried to play off Carter to Toffoli. Trying was Pearson. And it's handed on now to Hagelin. Gave it on across. Nash plays it off the boards, brushed it along. It went off Muzzin and out of play into the Rangers bench area. McDonough and Richards, the assists on Kreider's fifth, his third power play goal of the playoffs.
You have your power play looks. You know what you want to try to get accomplished.
but sometimes you have to ad-lib a little bit, and you see the reaction from Chris Kreider. Look, it's a 2-on-1 down low. I mean, that's what you try to do. Maybe not how you drew it up to start the game, but when you're a player out there and you're on a power play, sometimes it's okay to use your hockey sense and ad-lib. And Ryan McDonagh with a beautiful pass, the isolation. Everybody up high, looking for the puck, move it down low. Puck is in the back of the net.
It is Martinez, and then along for Williams. Williams delays, and from the red line threw it along. Settled down by John Moore, circle to circle across.
A lot more energy on the Ranger bench now, a lot more communication from player to player.
Quick, lost it, gave it up to Brassard, and it's thrown off Mike Richards and wide. 2 chances at the Kings net by Kings, and here's Clifford driving in front, can't score, another shot, and sprawling out to hold on to it is Lundqvist.
4 fine guys making it happen, the guys that don't play a lot of minutes, especially Kyle Clifford. Doc, you've talked about him, Eddie's talked about him. Kyle Clifford wants the puck, and he's making things happen coming off the right-hand side of the ice for the Los Angeles Kings. A power forward drafted off the Barry Colts organization in the Ontario Hockey League. He goes to work on John Moore right there, fearlessly, not once but twice, and Lundqvist stares him down.
Boy, that second save was tremendous. Watch this reaction from Henrik Lundqvist. Finds it, tracks, makes himself big, and he's able to deny Kyle Clifford. Simple play there from Drew Doughty. Just get the puck in behind, get it wide, allow Clifford to use that speed to the outside, and no hesitation at all there from Kyle Clifford as he went around Johnny Moore to get the puck to the front of the net.
In Game 4, he played less than 10 minutes, and you can see he's really taking advantage tonight with the live legs and the strength.
He feels it, and his coach has noticed it. So Daryl Sutter looks on, so does Alain Vigneault from the benches as this one is up for grabs in a 1-to-1 tie. Kopitar working the boards now. Kopitar pivoting with it, fighting a man off, trying to get the shot away, and it was knocked aside, though, by Dominic Moore. Carried back up again by Nash. Nash one-handed it in, and it's offside. And so, again, play is stopped. It is, in fact, the 93rd playoff game, and we've seen so much drama. Every playoff series except one out of the 15 has had at least one overtime game. And this one, of course, the first 2 went that way. They were both here, and the Kings won them both. Meanwhile, driving along is Trevor Lewis. St. Louis working on him, continues to work hard. Kicked it along, and Dominic Moore could help it across. McDonagh charges ahead with it now, shakes it back in, and it's stopped by Quick. Quick tended it on and into some traffic, but now it's Willie Mitchell having trouble there. And we get a stoppage of play, and a hooking call is coming up, and it looks like it's going to be on the Rangers.
Dominic Moore's going to get it. Steve Kazari calls it from the neutral zone. Jonathan Quick went back to play the puck. The Rangers want to pressure. And it happened a little bit before that to Dominic Moore. Ryan McDonagh's going to gain center, put the puck in deep. There's Quick playing the puck. And then you watch Dominic Moore. It was a quick brush, but Kazari's in the neutral zone. Wow. He's the guy that makes the call, not the down low official.
It is Boyle trying to clear, but cannot because of Kopitar. Rocks into Strawman. Puck dug out, though, by Carter. Handed on back. Boynoff with a shot. And that one kicked back out in a wonderful block by Brian Boyle. So now Doughty. How many times has big number 22 made one of those blocks at a key moment in a game? Shillelagh high by Hagelin. Hagelin around behind, chased off by Carter. Puck came back along and can be grabbed by Kopitar and kept alive to Doughty. Doughty back to Kopitar, moving on in, and a shot blocked down by Lundqvist. Scramble for it there. They still poke away at it, and now the whistle is blown. The Rangers clear. Girardi does that. 1:15 to go on the power play. 1:35, second period. Game 5. Boynoff throws it in and goes right in after it with Girardi. Boynoff guided it behind McDonagh there. Knocked loose, up for grabs. McDonagh clears it around and back down. One shot on goal on this power play for the Kings. 50 to go on the kill for the Rangers. Brought on by Doughty. Gains the zone with Williams breaking to the net. Doughty to the outside and Williams along. To the back, Mike Richards. Fires! Deflected! It's tangled up and shrugging it down and trying to play further is Girardi. Couldn't clear. It came on back to Doughty again. Lets it go! Wide! Handled again and played along by Boynoff. Twisted along now to Brown. They start to warm to the task a bit, the Kings. Brown slugged it across. Boynoff had to slow it off the boards. Dumped around now for Richards again. Yanked it right into McDonough. Played further for Williams. Off the stick of Boynoff, who closes off with Hagelin, who plays it across for Boyle. Boyle to the outside. He scores! Brian Boyle short-handed. And it's 2-1.
Two unbelievable plays. One by Carl Hagelin, and then the eventual goal scorer of Brian Boyle. Talk about patience with the puck. Watch Hagelin, he wins the physical battle. Now he gets support. You can't shoot the puck right away on Jonathan Quick. You got to get him to go down, and once he's down, you got to elevate the puck, and it doesn't get any better than that from Brian Boyle.
And we've seen this kind of shorthanded magic from both Boyle and Hagelin before. Go back to game one, they had some magic, and what a shot by Brian Boyle, as Eddie said. And it's just an amazing display of courage from the New York Rangers, because they didn't have a lot going on till that power play goal. Now they have a 2-1 lead with 29 seconds to go in the second period.
Quick is anticipating the shot to come from Brian Boyle. And once he holds on to it, Quick is going down. So as he is down, you got to throw the puck upstairs. Skate left, shoot right, clearly to the back of the net. And especially teams have come up large here in Game 5. But what a play, though, by Hagelin to win that battle on Boynoff.
Special teams, consecutive shots. A power play goal on one shot, a shorthander on the next one. Lewis threw it across the net mouth wide to the back. Mitchell a drive, and that one blocked off. Nash got in the way of it, then handed it over. It's played on back now for the hold by Lewis. Nash without a stick. Rolled around behind and taken by Pearson. 5 seconds to go. Suicide battle. Stoll tripped up on the play. It goes on along near Lewis, and the horn sounds out of the chaos. And the shock here of the goal by Brian Boyle at 19:35 of the second.
Well, Rick Nash turned the puck over, Doc, because he had blocked the shot initially from Willie Mitchell, and then he had a wardrobe malfunction and turned the puck over, and almost the LA Kings were able to cash in. The Rangers really good in their own zone, not allowing a lot of second chance opportunities. They spent a lot less time in their own zone in this game than they did in New York for Game 4. So continue to stay with that same mindset. Rebound still would be there, had there offensively. And for the LA Kings, shorten the bench of your Daryl Sutter. Maybe a little bit of a different look every once in a while, 5-on-5. No panic.
Well, you talked about the Rangers' defensive game. They would want a little more offense from it than they got last time when it was 15-1 in the third in shots, Los Angeles. And yet they won that game as we get an icing that comes up here. We have not gotten any word that the cup is in the house. That second Ranger goal probably kept it from coming. Nice move by Dustin Brown. Oh, he drove to the net, and he collided with Henrik Lundqvist, and play is stopped. Picked up by Pouliot, goes to the Martinez side. Bumped by Martinez, it's taken by Green. Rattled back off for Williams. Cross ice for Dwight King, bashed it back in. Lundqvist set, and it can be played back along again by Klein. Then forced on for the fly back in by Zuccarello. Martinez across to Green. Back ahead to Williams and back in a shift change. Klein back to play this one, jammed it along. John Moore plays it ahead. It's turned over for a shot that got the glass. The turnover came to Dwight King. Dominic Moore brings it back. Angles one along for San Luis, could not take it. Right back comes to Foley. Run off, though, and taken out of the play by Dominic Moore. Long toss ahead from McDonough. Goes back down and is stopped by Quick. Willie Mitchell plays this one and turns back.
Not even 2 minutes in, the Rangers have already used all 4 lines.
Brought back ahead by Voinov and sent wide. First one there is Pearson. Got out of some of the check. It's played up the boards. Muzzin with the challenge. Loose puck scooped up and slung by Toffoli. On the bounce for Mike Richards. Tangles there but emerges from McDonough. Pass to Dorsett though and floated out and drilled back in again by Trevor Lewis. Long toss ahead, ricocheted off Boyle. Turned back for Mike Richards, who brought it on. Laid one for Clifford. Bouncer is settled down by him. Here's Clifford, a shot that is blocked off of Lewis, and then it's turned back over to him. Lewis got in the way of that shot, but connects back onto Clifford. Taken away from him by Nash, and a nice spinorama, and he's able to lob it back out. Muzzin settles it down there. Time for more line changes. Muzzin brings it ahead. Sailed it back in off the glass and around over near Stahl. To a side, and it came loose to be advanced back up for Nash to pitch to center. Kreider slows through traffic and gave it over to Stralman, and Stralman right back in wide of the cage. Voinov to get it there. Voinov's pass is on the money for Dustin Brown. Crisply across now for Gabrick. Gabrick bringing ahead, slowed down by Stralman, and the puck went on through to Stahl. Stood up by Kopitar. Moving along is Mitchell. Mitchell tried to poke it further. They scrap for possession to a side in the corner. Reaching in a 5th man, Kopitar. More work, and it came to the 6th. Stahl met by Brown, shrugged that off, and kept going with a pass ahead that's spirited in by Brassard.
Nice job defensively there by the Rangers to keep the LA Kings to the outside. Kings not able to use their size to get inside off those cycle type of plays so far.
On goal, stopped by Lundqvist and covered.
Well, a couple of minutes ago, a turnover from Dominic Moore in his own zone on his backhand. Going to try to move this puck. Pressure coming, tries to go between the legs there of Tyler Toffoli, and it goes right to Dwight King, who misses on the short side.
And not by much. And if you're a young player and you're watching that, you want more to move it on the forehand, correct?
Well, you like to continue on that. I mean, if you have to try to force the puck through somebody in your own zone, you're better off to eat the puck or turn it back. You know what he's trying to do there. And in that situation, when you got a fresh player coming on the ice, you're better off to just eat it or force it up on that forehand, as Pierre was talking about.
Nice brush back by Muzzin, played along by Williams, then to the outside, Dwight King. Fed one to Stoll, who tried to kick to control, but it careened back out off a Ranger, and it's Muzzin on a cross.
Because they're changing so often, the Rangers have to be really careful on their line changes because LA's pushing the pace, and you don't want to get caught with too many men on the ice if you're New York.
Williams blasts it right back in, and it's squibbed out of play, and so we get a halt to the action. Lob back in, and Lundqvist corrals that one and steered it along for the play to be made by Girardi. Girardi's pass is all the way ahead, slowed down and then chipped on. They hoped for a play to be made by Stepan. It is on back to Girardi, back to Stepan again, and in. Goes to the Voinov side. Former Manchester Monarch able to turn around behind for that. Handed on to Pearson. That careened off Brad Richards and then is jabbed away by Brian Boyle. Richards behind, but Voinov prevailed. Klein back to throw one that went around behind and hopped away from Richards. Now Carter tipped it along, and it comes to center where Dorsett is able to bang it back in again.
Daryl Sutter has stayed with the same line combinations up front so far to start this first 5 minutes of the third period.
Here's Brassard racing along, and then Voinov near the end of his shift was able to block that, though he threw it down the ice and caused an icing, and so he will have to stay. 18,000 here, won a goal. In the largest city in the country, they're happy with the way it is right now. Both groups of fans have to sweat through what's remaining. It may be longer than 60. Mitchell jabbed one along. Oh, Clifford nearly ran Zuccarello to the ditch. He's got no stick. Poked back in by Mike Richards. He got one quickly from the Ranger bench. Oh, and a rocking hit there that came from Clifford. Floated back on, and it skipped off of Martinez, and then along comes Green. Wasn't sure if there was going to be a call on that, but nothing. Meanwhile, it's right back up now for Dustin Brown to charge ahead. Met by Stahl, pulls up, feeds over off the boards. Martinez had trouble settling it down. Pivoting along now is Kopitar. Kopitar gliding along, matched every inch of the way by Pouliot, and the shot skidded off a stick and slowed its way into Lundqvist.
Nice redirect there from Marian Gaborik, who didn't have a lot of room because he was being checked by Anton Strawman in front of the net. Shot from the point. Gaborik trying to hold position, sees the puck, gets his stick down at the last second. It was slowed up enough for Lundqvist to be able to make this stop.
Sure, Mike Milbury sitting upstairs with Keith Jones looking at Anton Strawman saying, that's how to clear the crease. Put the guy in his keister. Anton Strawman's had a tremendous playoff for the New York Rangers, and Eddie and Doc were talking about it the other night, the potential to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. I think he's going to need a new accountant.
First thing first, he goes for a very small advantage here monetarily. No one talks about it, but it is not a large share the players get. That's not what it's about. It's the name on a trophy. Onto the back now, Doughty shooting one that ricocheted to the corner and can be played further and banked on near Muzzin. Played into him at center. Trying to sashay by, gets a little help from Pearson, but it's quickly played back out again. The Ranger defenders are just doing anything they can to keep it out of their own end of the ice, as Girardi did there. Mike Richards goes back for this one. Pivots with it. He and Carter have been together since 05 in the American League. Along it comes now for a shot by Doughty, turned aside by Lundqvist. A brief absence for them at one point, but a lot of familiarity as the stepping out for this one and playing it along was quick. Through the legs pass from Pearson, golfed ahead but away from Mike Richards. And then Richards got in the way of the pass from Girardi onto McDonough, and it scaled all the way back down and will go for an icing. Along with this now comes Dustin Brown. Brown trying to work his way around behind and turns with it. Got it back to Mitchell. Mitchell controls and shoots one. A headhunter glanced off Stepan, and then the glass kept alive though and walked back on. Brown got it back. Mitchell there. Fires. Save. Lundqvist rebound. Puck free. Set on back. Another try. Oh, and that ricocheted off someone wide. My goodness. Mitchell stymied there by Nash. Stepping in is Gaborik. Laid it along now for the control of Brown. Brown wheels. They warm to the task here but can't connect, and Nash clears it back down, and there'll be an icing. At regular speed, it was aggravating to watch, especially if you like the red, white, and blue.
Maybe a timeout here coming for Alain Vigneault. You got some tired players on the ice. What a chance there for Willie Mitchell. What a save by Henrik Lundqvist.
You have sniffed it out, sir. There will be a timeout, but my, what a bit of action around the net. And the Kings did everything but score.
I thought Kopitar had a chance to shoot that puck right there instead of throwing it back to the point with Lundqvist down. That gave Lundqvist an opportunity to kind of get back and be in position for that shot that came from the point. He did the right thing, and I think Alain Vigneault did the right thing as well by using that timeout.
One to the back, Muzzin a shot. Oh, fought off by Lundqvist, and the rebound is tucked into his scissored legs. And again, another halt to play.
Face-off win, Jared Stoll back to Jake Muzzin, and this is almost the same exact save as Lundqvist made on Willie Mitchell. That puck changed direction. That was Jared Stoll, I believe, who redirected that puck. Yeah, right there. And look at Lundqvist.
Now the good news for the Rangers, they can get some fresh bodies on the ice, and Big Boyle to take the face-off.
20 for 21 is Lundqvist. Stoll on the draw with Boyle. From the tie-up. Off the short glass. Fought loose by Muzzin. Got tripped up on the play. The puck brushed back to center. And a tripping penalty on the Rangers.
The Rangers couldn't get it out. Jake Muzzin makes a real good play at the offensive blue line. Bats the puck down. And Matt Zuccarello is going to get called for the trip. Watch number 6 in black. Strawman off the boards. Muzzin, good play. And then leg on leg, Zuccarello on Muzzin. And then Boyle can eventually get it out, but the damage is already done.
So the power play is on, and it's nudged on to Gaborik. Gaborik trying to play it through, no luck. Flipped along, but off Carter by Stepan. Carter handed it across. A shot! What a score! Gaborik, the ex-Ranger, has tied the game.
The momentum of this game changed when Daryl Sutter changed the lines around. They get a power play on a questionable call. Net front presence, rebound there, and Marian Gaborik finds it and beats Henrik Lundqvist.
And it all starts with Jeff Carter keeping the play alive. Stepan couldn't get it past him on the far boards. And that leads to Doughty with the shot, and then Marian Gaborik with a quick stick. Watch 77 in black come over, keeps it alive with his hand, then he goes to work. Composure, distribute, shot from Doughty, goal from Gaborik.
Both goals by the Kings here tonight, very similar. Second and third chance opportunities end up going between the legs of Henrik Lundqvist.
Doughty and Carter get the assists, and it's tied at 2. Dominic Moore to St. Louis and across to Hagelin. Hagelin with a shot that is kicked up into the mesh off of Voinov.
It's a penalty on Zuccarello and a power play goal, and this game is tied.
Wow. All right, here's McDonough shot off up quick and wide as he ran into Green, or perhaps Green shoved into him. Meanwhile, it's McDonough. Now Dorsett. Dorsett tried to feed, knifed away by Martinez. Boyle could not really get much of a hold on it, and so it is McDonough. Lewis and Clifford and Mike Richards for Los Angeles. Muzzin and Doughty the defense. Whacked along and lifted on for Mike Richards. Girardi, while falling, played it back further, and Kevin Klein to get it. Richards and Boyle and Dorsett are out for the Rangers, and now another change in lines for both teams. Girardi threw it back in and was hit by Brown, and icing is called. Then Klein. Off of Pouliot, and then Zuccarello pitched it off the short glass, goes into work on Mitchell. Two of them waltz along, taken further by Pouliot, shoved off by Kopitar. It came free for Mitchell, outlets to Brown, moves up with Gaborik, picks up Mitchell. Brown to the outside now, Mitchell gets back, it comes to him, sent to the side of the net, and it's kicked out by Lundqvist on the try. From Kopitar, it is cleared, and another icing.
Boy, what a beautiful play there from Willie Mitchell, looking for Anze Kopitar, who was off that strong side as the Kings won the physical battle along the boards. Play's going to develop to the left of Henrik Lundqvist. Here comes Willie Mitchell, left part of the screen. There's Anze Kopitar. Unfortunately, it was off the skate and then off of Henrik Lundqvist. But again, Marian Gaborik in front of the net with Anton Stralman.
And what a battle by Lundqvist to keep this thing at 2.
The Kings have had some tremendous third periods. They are out shooting the Rangers 7-1 right now and have scored the tying goal. Chased off with Pearson, brought ahead by Pouliot, flown back, and Muzzin will play. Jake Muzzin, the long toss, settled down by Mike Richards onto Pearson. Then Mike Richards just wide of the cage. And Carter threw one. Patted back out again by Lundqvist. It's poked on free and brushed back by Carter and ladled back in again. McDonough goes to get it, pushed it into Carter. Girardi trying to tie him up. Carter emerges with it, has Stoll in front, and a shot! And that wouldn't go through. Stoll up with it again, rubbed out by McDonough. Around is Girardi, two-a-side battle, poked along by Dominic Moore. Fought for by Carter persistently, but Girardi prevails off the short glass and out Dominic Moore. And back down the ice, hustling to it is Hagelin, but icing again. It's called.
Great forechecking by the LA Kings. Simple plays, pucks to the net, strength in numbers. Carter with a chance. Lundqvist moves one way, comes back the other way. There's a chance for Jeff Carter. What a stop there with traffic in front. Not only have to worry about the Kings going to the front of the net, but as well as his teammates causing those screens.
And after another icing, no more timeout for the Rangers, and a group of fatigued Rangers again.
Now, this is where you got to buy some time if you're a player. Take the tape off of your stick.
It is Williams' shot, and that ricocheted off a leg and is carried back up.
And hand it to the official and buy some time. An extra 5 or 10 seconds would do tired players on the ice a world of good.
Isn't that cheating?
Yeah, well, you got to do what you got to do.
Martinez a shot, and getting the glove on that was Lundqvist. Since 1893, a symbol of hockey supremacy, the Stanley Cup, attended by Phil Pritchard, it is here. It has had white glove treatment since those guys back in New York in '94 kind of messed with it too much, and the commissioner said enough. Thanks a lot, Eddie.
They're making up for it tonight, I think.
May be presented, may go back in the box. That's what these next minutes or periods are about. Stahl, kept down by Williams. Then Dwight King. Away from Strawman to Williams. Rocked to the boards and glass by Stahl. Off of Kreider, and must be played at center by Doughty because of the challenge from Kreider. Muzzin along, and pivoting back is Stoll. Doughty to Muzzin, and on ahead. Williams ahead up the wing, and a little over anxious was Stoll. Once in a while, you need a rest. So do we. And the players got a brief one, and they go back to it. With under 8.5 to go, third period, 2-2 tie. Game 5, best 4 out of 7. The Kings have won 3. Girardi along, carried up by Brassard, harassed by Brown, wedged down enough, but it's Green playing it, and it careened on back now to be taken by Girardi. The chant is "We want the cup." Carried back ahead by Voynov. Stashed back in. Lundqvist couldn't settle it down. Carter could. Carter floated for Mike Richards, no luck. Hagelin connects back. It's dropped on to him by Dominic Moore. Angled back in, and San Luis after it. Shoved his man off Mitchell. Goes to work further. San Luis shoved by Mitchell. Able to angle it back. Strawman with it there. Strawman a shot. Blocked down in front. Looked like Mitchell got in front of that one. Carried back up now by Carter, and Carter fed it through. Pearson fakes the drive, twirls with it, trying to shake the defense. Threw one around behind. Comes up the boards to Doughty. Doughty played it back along again. It's Pearson with it. Wheels one, and that one goes to the corner glass. Doughty is all over, but it is Dominic Moore trying to play it through and hustling on Amos Toffoli as it's squibbed on across. After it is Clifford, ties up with Strawman. Rammed there by Lewis, puck to center, bashed right back along by Doughty, and along it goes near Toffoli. Jabbed on further for Clifford, but it's squibbed through. It is Boyle turning. He's the guy that had the short-handed goal that put the Rangers ahead. It was Gabrick's power play goal that tied it back up. Back up the wing, thrown in by Toffoli. Dwight King trying to get there, chipped along. Stepping to it is Stoll, denied by Stahl, and it's hoisted back out by Richards. Martinez banked one along. King's able to take and move back. Checked off with Stoll. It's played off of Williams and gotten by John Moore. His pass is directed back in yet again by Dorsett. Martinez floated one, taken by Richards, run into by Green. So King plays ahead. Stoll brings it on and crisscrosses with Williams and hopes for him. Does not get that. In this period, 2 New York Rangers shots. 10 for the Kings, and Williams with a shot. Oh, and it went just wide. Played back around behind, and Kopitar to get that one. It has been all Kings. Another shot by Gabrick was blocked. John Moore tries to play it ahead. Kopitar in the way, but Nash brings it back. Hands it on over to Kreider. Plays up the wing for Nash, but it went by him. Chopped back along again by Mitchell. Worked along by Kreider. Defended by Kopitar. Taken along by Gabrick and handed on for Brown. Shakes it off the boards and tries to get back in. It is McDonough with under 5.5 to go. Dan Girardi walks it on for the Rangers. His pass is blocked. Mike Richards moving on with it now. Richards curls, sent it on back, hoping for Muzzin. Brushed it on and got help from Gabrick. But now it's Girardi again. Girardi's pass is cut by Richards. Carter a shot. Oh, it was just over the top of the net. 10 bell chances coming for the Kings just off the forecheck, forcing the Rangers to turn it over as they did again. They can't get the change made they wanted, and it's icing. They won't get it yet. icing is called.
Henrik Lundqvist very upset, Eddie. Turnover by Dan Girardi, that leads to that chance. Here's Jeff Carter walking into one. Lundqvist fights it off. Too many turnovers, too many icings, and the Rangers are on their heels.
The fans are too. They are standing on them. Can't sit down. A few you see across the way have, but they can see a little better. Shot deflected up off the mesh and out of play. The Kings have outshot the Rangers 25-3, but have only outscored them 1-0, and that one tied this game from Gaborik on the power play. Played by Brown and given on to Kopitar with Stahl back. Kopitar twirling around behind with it now. Draws Pouliot to him, gave it back to Doughty. Doughty threw one that's blocked down by one Ranger to another. Pouliot to Zuccarello, up to Brassard, and back in just wide of the cage. Muzzin run off, but played it ahead. It's off Gaborik, off Strawman, and high enough on their bodies that we get a stoppage of play. The chant starts slowly to build, not urged on by anyone in particular, other than a few who need some energy expended. Several are still standing here, anticipating what might happen next. Worried somewhat about what might happen too if it goes the other way. It is often fun to be a fan. This is tense. Squibbed in front. Oh, and what a try by Boyle. That was stopped by Quick. My! On ahead with us now comes Williams, and offside is called.
What a terrific effort from Brian Boyle right in front of the net. 22 in white, gets his puck, protects it, and fires it to Jonathan Quick, taking away the bottom of the net.
Size, strength, determination, and will. What a save by Jonathan Quick.
And no chance if you're Matt Green to defend that type of play. Too quick to develop and all in one motion. Outstanding play and a good stop.
Thrown by Voinov, but blocked by McDonough. Led ahead and spirited back in off the stick of Boyle. Coming back for this is Mitchell. Connects back up with King. Dwight King flopped one ahead off Richard's stick. Carried ahead by Williams. Williams dips the shoulder and holds now. Williams pivoting, looked toward Mitchell, got it there. One-time blast was wide of the cage. Dorsett hustles after it, pinching in as Voinov. Guided it around behind. It's Girardi's puck to play. Mitchell in the way of that. Chopped on, though, and scooped back out to the safety of center by Richards, and flown on back by Mitchell in the careful block by Lundqvist. Girardi plays it on for the turning Nash. He's run into by Muzzin. Doughty around behind. Has some space to move. Lays a pass ahead that's carried on by Carter, who's been dangerous. Carter is shot, and that's steered wide. Stahl got in the way of that one with his stick. Played along now and touched across from Muzzin to Doughty and up to Pearson. Walked it on back and a shot. Fought off by Lundqvist. Did not see where it went. Helped King. Scaled back out again, and on the bounce it is feathered along by Kreider and guided further by Muzzin. 2:50 separating these two teams from sudden death overtime. Klein with a pass, directed on, swung at and missed by St. Louis. Carried back up by Doughty. Doughty able to escape back into the zone, had it knifed off his stick though, and it's Stahl to play it there. Stahl got it on to Klein, flew it out of harm's way as far as center ice yet again. Voinov plays it carefully back, and offside is called against the Kings. Played along now by Voinov, came back to him again. Trouble came there though, it's Hagelin right around in front. Got it tangled up in the feet of Willie Mitchell as he tried to make his shot. Thrown along now and wiped out as Brown. Puck goes back down and no icing on the play. So the clock will continue to wind down to smaller numbers. From a 2, it now goes to a 1. 1:59 to go. Strawman brings it on. Flies it back in wide. Doughty to play it there and lay it behind for Muzzin. Hurried to it and up the boards for Gaborik. Gaborik able to play it ahead now, and it's guided on by Williams and slung into the catching glove of Lundqvist, who paddles it along to Stahl. 100 seconds to play. Cut by Muzzin and started back. Laid on across and trying to work through his Stahl. Has to chase it down. Stahl threw one in front, blocked by Girardi. Rebound, and it's poked on along to center. Gathered in by Drew Doughty. And dropped on back to Willie Mitchell. Brought on by Williams. Shoved off by Kreider. Reaching is King, tangled in the linesman's skate, step on. Up the wing now for Nash. Watched by Voinov and knocked away from him, and then Nash goes down. And the puck came along to Stoll. It is Mitchell trying to play it up to King, no luck. Right back behind again, and it's Voinov. Carter has trouble. Stoll drops back. Rangers make a change. Mitchell brings it ahead. 45 to go. Mitchell able to lob it ahead. It goes back down, and there is an icing here, and an onside play will be brought back near Jonathan Quick, and an offensive zone faceoff for New York.
Willie Mitchell had a chance to just stay back there, wait for some opportunities for some fresh bodies on the ice. Great play there from Carl Hagelin to lift up the stick of Slava Voinov and take the puck to the net. Speaking of Willie Mitchell, what a great defensive play to keep that puck away from going in on his goaltender.
Mike Richards, Dominic Moore. Richards prevails. Mitchell guides it. Carter to take it there. Gave it up though. McDonough threw one that careened on now to St. Louis. Threw one across the net mouth and all the way back to center where Girardi plays it. Point off to take it on the bounce there. Scaled it on out and it hopped out of play into the Kings bench area. And so a neutral ice face-off there, a ruling according to Steve Kazari.
Well, I got to tell you, Doc, the linesmen are saying that the face-off should be inside, and Steve Kazari's overruling them.
And still very animated about pointing to where the face-off should be. The referee in this case trumps the linesman, or trumps two of them. What he says goes, and so it's at neutral ice. This will be put in play. 20 left. Doughty, then Brown, then Gabrick with Kopitar moving. Gabrick, a shot knocked down, funneled through by Kopitar who turns. 7 seconds to go, another shot! Oh, and that one did not go either! My goodness, what a finish to this. And it will take extra time. And we all get to see the last play again.
What great recognition from Jake Muzzin to jump into this open area of the ice and gets a great pass from Andrei Kopitar. You have to know the situation, you have to know the time on the clock, and there's Jake Muzzin. What a chance, just throws it past the left post in behind Henrik Lundqvist.
Liam, Mike, and Keith are standing by with the Subway overtime intermission report. What a time for a good sandwich. It is only the 6th series in the complete history of the final, back to when there were very few names on that, to have 3 or more overtime games. 2013, 1993, 1951, 1950, 1940. It awaits. It also gets to keep the miles if it has to go back to New York for another game Monday. Perhaps one of the faces you are seeing now will determine if that's the deal or whether it is presented tonight. Kopitar and Stepan to begin it. Doughty with the first chase away from Kreider. Punched on back wide of Kreider. Stepping to it is Muzzin. Flipped the other way. Rifled on and then right back again and then hoisted along further by Gabrick and sent around behind off the shelf where Kreider can play. Kreider swept it past Nash, but Stepan tried to chip one, but it kicked across to Brown. Looks ahead to Gabrick. Brown able to lug it on himself. Handed up the wing where Kopitar was just getting a fresh stick from the bench. Sent back ahead now for Gabrick with Brown moving toward the net. Gabrick holds some more. Twirls and throws it around behind. Wedged off was Mike Richards by Stepan. Zuccarello shunted it along and it skipped to center. There is a busted stick there, undoubtedly Kopitar's. Thrown by Voinov, tipped back in by Mike Richards. Able to play it along with Lundqvist, but he had to wait for it to go past that diagonal line. Punched on out to center where it is flexed on by Mitchell. Hooked back in by Carter. Rushing in was Pearson, and a shot is saved by Lundqvist from the stick of Mike Richards. Pearson yet again fired one that ricocheted across. Point off a drive, and that settled down. Carter threw it across, and it hopped on over. A diving play by Richards, or Pouliot could have been stepping to center. Lundqvist paddled the point-off toss away. Sent back along off Brassard. Point off on the turning stick of Stoll, moves back in onside. Trying to get by Strawman, no luck. Played back along by Zuccarello. Matt Green rushes his man. Chased off Richards. Stoll, a shot that is sent away by Lundqvist. Kept alive by Martinez. Another one in front. Oh! And what a save by Lundqvist again. Brought back up by Richards. And sent wide of the cage off the back of the net.
What a redirect there from Justin Williams, standing right in front of Henrik Lundqvist.
Anton Strawman and Mark Stahl were on the ice for almost a full 2 minutes.
Icing is called. John Moore is out there with Kevin Klein for the defense of the Rangers now.
Boy, what a push by the LA Kings early. There's the chance for Jared Stoll. Defenseman getting involved. Martinez throws it to the front of the net. There's Justin Williams with the redirect.
And look at the puck pursuit by Mike Richards, who's got a flair for the dramatic, and Lundqvist comes up with another doozy.
And a good play there from Tanner Pearson on the initial forecheck there to tie up the defenseman, Strawman.
The Kings again. But McDonough touches it ahead. St. Louis couldn't get it. Stoll could, and dropping back now is King. It's played by his defense. Matt Green sent it back carefully down, and it will not be an icing. So now McDonough turning with it. 2:20 into the first overtime period. Clifford jostled a bit. Doughty gave it across and Muzzin. And then back for Doughty again. Kicked along by Lewis, didn't see it, recovered. Lewis at the half boards, down to the ice he goes. It is skied back out again. Hagelin sees it drop near. Follow-up comes from Dominic Moore. Has Hagelin breaking, backhanded one. Oh, and it was spiked wide by Hagelin. Battle for up the half boards again. Reaching is Toffoli. Pitched it ahead, it careened back from Lewis. Carried back up now by Clifford. Clifford into the zone with a shot, and it got the glass. Right back around, they're trading opportunities. It's off Dorsett and back down. Willie Mitchell to get it there. Wheels right back ahead with it. Mitchell head up with a pass on now for Gabrick. Gabrick bringing it on. Gabrick just protecting it around behind and circles. Bedwin in front. Shot off by Lundqvist. And it's Nash up with it there. Now Kreider and then Stoll. Brown and Kopitar and Gabrick are out for the Kings. Coming back for this point off with Willie Mitchell. Gave it up though. Nash ranks free. With a shot. Deflected wide. Rebound. Oh, drilled wide of the net. And the net was gently brushed high, but it's back on its stanchions. Turn to the outside. Now it's Kreider. Kreider a shot. Shut off by Quick, who was down all the way. Played along to the outside step on. There's going to be a penalty coming up. Power play in overtime. The call is a hook, and the Rangers will have the big opportunity.
It's going to be on Slava Voinov for hooking Derek Stepan. Stepan cannot believe that he missed this opportunity. The chance for Derek Stepan went in between Jonathan Quick in the wide open net. A couple of great chances at either end. Penalty happened before that on Derek Stepan.
Wearing that mask to protect a broken jaw. Broken in the third round, forgiven in the handshake line. So now the power play in overtime. Played off by Zuccarello. Gotten by Richards. Careful stop and a cover by Quick.
Every inch of ice so critical right now. Trevor Lewis thought he got slashed by Brad Richards, and he's really in rough shape going over to the bench. And Kazari's saying no slash, he's trying to lift the stick.
Well, Brad Richards was going to get this puck. He follows through, and the stick hits Trevor Lewis. That's one of those follow-through plays when you have the puck, rule 60.1, a high stick follow through, accidental contact on an offensive type of play, a shot or a pass, and the right non-call made. No slash there, just a stick right in the yap.
Booted along by Muzzin, hooked along by Doughty, and the Rangers will have to drop back.
What an effort by Jarrett Stoll there. Wow.
He comes to the bench for a change. Richards and Carter are up front for the penalty-killing Kings. Muzzin and Doughty in back, weaving his way along as Richards, with Kreider and McDonough, as well as San Luis in the battle around behind. Richards flipped it on, Muzzin tried to steer it further, could not. San Luis there, duels with Muzzin. Yanked it on to Richards, led on back to the point, walked across by Stepan. Now San Luis with it. Gave it on over to McDonough, drives, hit the post with the shot! McDonough leaped in the air to celebrate. Back down it goes on Lundqvist.
That all started, Doc, because of the miscommunication, the handoff, or lack thereof, of Quick and Muzzin.
Sent on now to Kreider. Tried to rattle it around, it is turned back up to McDonough and knocked away from him by Brown. Brown moving back up with Kopitar, delays, shoots, no! It is San Luis turning back 45 to go on his team's power play. Handed on now to Stepan, ladled it on through for San Luis, jabbed it on further for Brad Richards. Poked right back behind San Luis with it there. Laid to the outside and held. Brassard gave it to the back, John Moore with it there. Lays it on back for the hold. And a feed over to Richards! Couldn't get it to the front of the net. Kopitar steers out to Brown. 20 left on the kill. He flies one into the glove of Lundqvist.
Boy, great movement there. Richards has got to shoot that puck.
This is Pouliot marching back through one in front. Swung on and missed on the backhand try by Zuccarello. Then on it comes to Williams. 7 left on the penalty kill as Williams starts ahead. Puts on the brake, still able to hold. Delays and plays back in deeper. Girardi there. Watched by King. Penalty time is up. Full strength action in overtime. The tie score is 2. Came onto the back now. Doughty holds. Wheels a shot and that deflected wide. Played on now by Williams. Williams delays and tries to go by Girardi. Williams fed one shot. Oh, and that one blocked by Lundqvist. A great trigger pull from Mike Richards. Thrown back to Richards again. Mike Richards around behind. Williams with it there. Has King in front and Richards. Preoccupied though. He has to pull away from John Moore. That one is cut by Brassard. And he's able to gain center. Brassard bringing it on back now. Wheels to the outside, picking up reinforcements. And is forced on back to center by Doughty. Past the 6.5 mark of the first overtime period. The direction back in by Hagelin. And the play to Doughty. Had trouble because of Nash. Help comes from Dominic Moore in a 4-man sandwich, equally divided. Works to the outside now, it is Nash. Pivoting with it now. Nash through one that's wide of the net. Careens on back now for the hold by Klein. Played on now to Hagelin. Knocked away from him, and it's Clifford setting it up. Working back up the wing, Toffoli moving in. Toffoli on over to Stoll. Blew the shot wide. Back up the boards it comes to be poked back in by Mitchell. Taken by Toffoli. Rocked a little bit there by Stoll. Loose puck taken around by Stoll, but then instead, I beg your pardon, Toffoli. Back up the boards now, it's Mitchell. Run in too high and hard by Nash. Toffoli tries to rag through Canuck. Stahl poked it on to center. Mitchell gave it across. Boynoff up with it there, 7.5 gone. Rattled around to Stahl. He's able to play it back for the Rangers. Safely on to Klein. Brushed back ahead. Boynoff could not reach, and it goes down for an icing.
Well, after the penalty kill by the Los Angeles Kings, a ferocious push on Henrik Lundqvist. Justin Williams out front to Mike Richards. Henrik Lundqvist fights it off, Eddie.
Go back to that power play chance. Ryan McDonough, you can't hit a post any more square and come out to the other side of Jonathan Quick. Great movement by the Rangers on their power play, really all night long. That put a dent in a post in behind Quick.
Rangers prevail on the resulting face-off, and it's Klein. Stahl. And blasted along. Klein comes to the bench. Meanwhile, at the boards, they play it. Kept alive by Hagelin, but played back into Brown. Brown able to motor ahead with it now. Delays. Brown with with a shot. He didn't get much on it, and his stick really was a mess. It's in half. Order some new ones. Working his way ahead and throwing it along was Stoll. Played back ahead now. Hustling back and back checking that away. In a saving play was Kreider. It's called back anyway on an offside. The lookout was proper, Pierre. It was looking like a 3-on-1.
Tanner Pearson was live off the bench. Mike Richards is telling him I should have got it to you just a little quicker here in the neutral zone.
Tough play for Richards there. That's his blind spot, a left-handed guy coming up the right side of the ice. Have to completely turn all the way around to see that play develop. Those long changes in this overtime period maybe create an offensive chance.
Mitchell's pass is off Carter. Reached and played on by McDonough. Grabbed off by Mitchell. Some table tennis between the blue lines before this is set up by Lundqvist. Work back on now for Kreider to punch back. Gets the return from Stepan and races ahead and crosses. Kreider dropped it back and a shot turned aside by Quick. The hard drive that came from Girardi. Now it's Kreider turning with it. Shoved off by Mitchell. Mitchell able to poke it along, goes after it again. Nudged it on back and it skipped away from Girardi. Carrying on now is Carter. Carter threw it ahead, got there, and then centered and Lundqvist slid across with his pad. Now it's Carter again. Carter fed one. Martinez a shot and it's wide. Girardi plays it back ahead. Hustling back for it was Pouliot. Collides with Martinez. Puck turned around behind and Voinov has it. Many are standing here because of the excitement of the OT. They don't know what else to do. I can't blame them. Carried back ahead by King and rolled to the corner. Williams rushes in there with John Moore. Played along by Dwight King. King leaned on a bit, tangles at the half boards, and it kicked on back to be thrown to the net by Lewis and saved by Lundqvist. It kicked on back to Doughty. Doughty hurried one that flopped off the high glass in the shelf and came along to Klein. Klein forced it on. Williams kept it to the back. Muzzin there. Dubbed a shot, but it's turned on to Lewis anyway. Lewis gliding around behind with it now. Lewis trying to shake free. Sets it back up. Muzzin let a shot go that careened up high off of Pouliot and out of play, and the faceoff stays near Lundqvist.
Now a mandatory ice scrape. Both teams will get an opportunity, and the fans here at Staples Center and all the fans watching at home.
No Brad Richards on this line with Boyle and Dorsett. It's Carl Hagelin, the speedy Hagelin.
Dorsett persists in throwing it in. It's a delayed offside. The Rangers pour out and then back in again as Doughty brings this ahead. Doughty weaving his way along neatly now, crosses and gains the zone, but it was so fancy that he threw at least one teammate offside. Girardi to McDonough and back up to Kreider and sent back to the Muzzin corner. Nash after him. Up the boards now to King. Jammed it back right to Nash. Centering pass pinballed off Muzzin. Flagged down and played back along now by Stoll. It is Williams trying to force it back. It bounced to Stoll. Got help from Muzzin. Threw it all the way down on goal. Lundqvist with a decision. He decides McDonough. Checked off there, but Girardi comes by. 9:05 to go in the first overtime, and the Rangers are guilty of icing. Plenty of places to find out about it. USA Hockey is one. Kreider slowed this down, brought on by Stepan. Out of the glove of Quick, but he hooked it along, and it's played by Mitchell. Mitchell's pass is errant, goes up the boards, hurried by Richards, directed by St. Louis and stopped. Played on by Richards, and then lobbed around and kept by the Rangers again. Brad Richards sets it, St. Louis save, rebound, is taken back off now by Carter. A great chance from the slot for Marty St. Louis that time, and this one is scaled on through off of Brad Richards and back to Stoll.
Beautiful pass there from Brad Richards to Marty St. Louis to create that chance.
Alain Vigneault going with a little chemistry from Tampa. Richards and St. Louis.
They were part of a championship in Tampa 10 years ago. Rattled back out to center. McDonough trying to play there. Persisting was Kopitar. But McDonough got it to Girardi. And then it's loose off Voinov. Battling with it is Pouliot. Pouliot twirls. Got it on back to McDonough. Wanted to pull the trigger. Could not. Dustin Brown did the checking that time. Willie Mitchell emerging with this. Able to play it along, but then it's sent behind, and Brassard will try to chase it down. Gabrick able to punch it on back. More trouble here as fatigue sets in. A feed for Pouliot. Cutting away with it now is Kopitar. Moves on up with Gabrick and swings it back in and comes to the bench for a breather. 7:40, first overtime period. Game 5, best of 7. If the Kings win this, the Stanley Cup is theirs. If the Rangers win, it goes back to New York for a game on Monday. Played along again. Girardi sent it further. Brassard challenged there. Turn to the outside and a shot. Off the crossbar! Toffoli let a shot go that got iron and not net. Taken by Toffoli again, trying to get free. Along it comes for a shot. Bad angle, and it's off Lundqvist, and he's able to hang on. Just becoming a pillow and absorbing the puck.
What a great pinch in by Alec Martinez, and the man that we had mentioned a little while ago did not see a lot of ice time in the third period. Tyler Toffoli goes top shelf on Henrik Lundqvist. And another piece of iron in overtime.
All square on that account, absolutely, Eddie. And Tyler Toffoli, what a goal scorer he was in junior hockey. He's just finding his way right now. He's going to be a star player for this team for a long time.
Well, Jarrett Stoll, who has been one of the best shootout men in history, but that, of course, evaporates as a skill when you get into the playoffs, at least one with the clock stopped, unless you get a rare penalty shot. There has been only one in 93 games. Conclusion, doesn't happen often, but Stoll is a terrific face-off man, as is Brian Boyle. And so, who wins? Boyle, but reached by King, and King able to protect it. Boyle stepped free, turned back into some traffic, got a bounce, and then off Hagelin, and it's turned over quickly. Stole a shot, blocked up high, and to the corner. King got it there, then along to Stoll once more. Pass ricocheted back down the ice. There won't be an icing on this, and so it is Jonathan Quick handing it on to Doughty, reverses on to Muzzin, taps ahead for Williams. Williams looks ahead toward King, played it back in, and around it goes for Lundqvist. Just ushers it along for Strawman to take. Strawman banked it back up the boards, played by Hagelin, yanked along now. At center, it's thrown on by Boynoff and grabbed off by Williams. Played back up the boards again. And here's Pearson, a shot sent aside by Lundqvist. Wraparound would not go! Loose puck gotten there by Pearson. Pearson twirling back. Pearson able to protect, shook one to the front that was blocked away by the stick of Lundqvist. Nash goes out. Tumbles down to the ice, the follow-up from John Moore. Floated on, and Willie Mitchell takes it.
Strawman's been out there a while again. He's at the end of a long, long shift.
He just can't change because of the long change.
He is tied up with Carter right in front of the scorer's table. Nash is there as well, and Boynoff. That part of this sport can be very exhausting because you do not want to give a thing.
Well, fresh players on the ice. Watch this effort from Tanner Pearson. Stays with this puck and then wraps it around, and Lundqvist able to move from right to left. Covering up the post. Piece of the post. Side of the net. But that's all it takes, is that one opportunity when you got some tired players on the ice and fresh players on to create and generate.
Stepan lays it back in. Kreider to get it there. Kreider pivoting some more. Sent it around behind. Nash knocked it down. Canceled out by Muzzin, who steps to it. Connects with Gabrick. Gabrick dropped it on. Rushing ahead with it. Kopitar. Here's Kopitar turning with it now. Nice yank of the puck behind, but then McDonough got in the way. McDonough able to turn with a little bit more space and time. Shoves it on to Kreider, and Kreider pulls and drops it on back. Girardi with a careful play ahead. St. Louis dropped it in. Kreider with it there. Kreider, a shot deflected away and into the mesh by Doughty.
Good recovery there.
If this keeps going, he'll break that.
Off the tie-up, Klein with it there. Plays it on Brad Richards. A shot shrugged down and covered by Jonathan Quick.
I think this has been the best game that Brad Richards has played in a long time for the Rangers.
And he's such a good playmaker, Brad Richards. You get those speed elements, that's positive for him.
Boynoff connects ahead. Williams brings it out. Flopped one ahead. Dwight King hacked it in and goes in after it with John Moore. King around behind. Lacrosse check by Moore. Comes up with the puck. Help came from Williams to dart free. Williams pivoting, trying to shake Kevin Klein. Williams gave it to the back. Boynoff, a shot, and it hit someone in front. Bounced on now to Williams. Williams pivoting, a logjam of players near the hash marks. Williams again circling. Chased off by Klein. Puck to Stoll. Stoll has a man open. Send it to Williams. Strikes it on goal. Rebound. Another save made by Lundqvist on Williams. He has had the hot hand around the net. Got the first goal of the game. This one comes around and Klein swings it further. Moving in is Mitchell. Plays it behind to Williams. Everyone tired. Here's King up with it now. Twists a pass in front that goes on back. Mitchell a drive. It went wide. Right out in front. Jabbed it and it went wide on the try by Lewis. Then ladled along by King. Lewis trying to get there. Puck squips free and it started back ahead. Carefully played by Dominic Moore back down. It goes for another icing.
Well, you got some tired players on the ice right now, especially on the back end. Kevin Klein and Johnny Moore. If you're the LA Kings, you want to put this puck in play quickly. If you're the Rangers, you want to slow this down, buy some time. There's Justin Williams again right in front of the net. What a pass from Jared Stoll. Great save again from Henrik Lundqvist.
And the only good piece of news for the Rangers, they have two natural center icemen on the ice in Richards and Moore. And for Brad Richards, this is playing to his strength, being a left-hand shot.
Well, Henrik Lundqvist is asking the official, dropped his water bottle behind the net, bought a couple of seconds, something in the corner, went to pick it up, bought a little time for his tired guys on the ice.
The 82nd face-off of the game is won by the Kings. Mike Richards a shot. Grub, rebound, Carter can't get it loose. Carter again to the outside. Carter sidled up to, pinching along is Green. Fought free by Brad Richards, and now Green spars for it. Two-a-side battle comes to John Moore. Played it behind. St. Louis hustles to it. Turns and tries to play, but can't. Kings up with it again. Brushed aside, though, by Klein. Turning along as Brad Richards doubles back. Flips one around behind. St. Louis must go in again. Right after him is Martinez. Hit poked along by Pearson. Taken then by Mike Richards. Nudged on back. Martinez with it there. Got it onto Carter. Backhander. Along now for a shot by Pearson that's wide. Carter with it again. Onto the back. Martinez a shot, and that one blocked out of play.
Oh, that's a huge play from Dominic Moore. The LA Kings recognizing that the New York Rangers were on the run. Tired players on the ice, pinching in, creating and generating opportunities. Carter with the shot, and then Tanner Pearson just misses the far post.
And here's a chance off the face-off. Henrik Lundqvist thinks he has it, but he drops it, and Carter just can't get a handle on it.
Chances in overtime, 11-5 Kings. The shot's 13-6. Goalie's perfect. It is Hagelin. Checked by Gabrick, prevailed and spun it in, and around to play it is Quick, then Doughty, then up the boards. Comes on back for McDonough shot that went wide. Gotten by Boyle, tries to get it around in front, scramble for it there, and getting his glove down on it, and hanging on is Jonathan Quick.
Terrific effort from Brian Boyle in behind the net with Carl Hagelin and Derek Dorsett right in front of Jonathan Quick. Good play there from Ryan McDonough to win that foot race, and watch Boyle. He's going to get it right to the front of the net. You never know. And then the mad scramble in front.
Another example, though, the net's being shrunk by the National Hockey League. Those wraparound opportunities more prevalent. And for a big guy like Brian Boyle, real smart play.
He is poised and waiting again. The native of Hamden, Connecticut, peers out at this face-off that involves Stoll and Stepan, taken on by Nash. Here's Nash throwing one in front, and a save made by Quick, hoisted to the glass by Mitchell. And lobbed on out. Will this be an icing? Down it goes. Icing is waved off. The challenge from Stoll. Lifted on out to center and gloved down by Boynoff and drubbed back in. The Kings pour out, then back in on the forecheck onside. So now then McDonough. 2:22 to go in the first overtime. Shrugged on down, played by Boynoff, into Kreider. Duels there, and shoved one that King was able to get away from Stepan. Dwight King able to step to center across the red line and back in. Lundqvist there. Has trouble, though. Chopped away as hustling there first, and getting there was Lewis, but now it's sailed back out again as they hope for Kreider. Instead, it's Doughty, touching on to Williams, and again back out for the blast back in. Doughty to take this. 1:50 to go. Directed back in by Toffoli and sent away by Lundqvist. Clifford to get it there. Right back in deep to Richards. Strawman duels there. Around it comes for a play to be made further by Toffoli. Jabbed on back now for Mike Richards. Richards stumbles down. Dorsett flops it back out. And this one will go back down, no icing. Held by Doughty and sent circle to Muzzin. Long toss ahead, directed out of play into the Kings bench. When do you notice fatigue more? Second overtime or first? Guys look tired, but sometimes that can be deceptive.
And the adrenaline can certainly carry you through. I mean, at times in this overtime, Doc, icing against the Kings.
Broussard on the tie-up, kicked it back to Pouliot, given on back to Girardi, spiked it down and shot one. Save made by Quick. Rebound fanned on. Try there in front by Zuccarello. They continue to poke away at it. Puck loose, reaching out and getting his glove on it was Jonathan Quick. It was bouncing all around. There were chances coming, but none ended the game.
2 chances for Matt Zuccarello. The first one is going to be a shot from Dan Girardi. He's going to shoot this puck, and it's redirected right there from Matt Zuccarello. And then Zuccarello gets it again, and Jonathan Quick is able to fight it off. Unbelievable opportunities, but again, generating offense off a face-off win.
That's just being square. That's making yourself big, athletic, and look at the flexibility right there. That's unbelievable. Try that at home. You go into the emergency room.
1:02, first overtime. Muzzin ties up there and floated one that's carefully stopped and played in on an offside that's delayed by Girardi. Ahead now it comes to Jeff Carter. Carter trying to swagger by, right around in front. Denied enough that he couldn't pull the trigger on the shot on the checking of Nash. Here comes Carter again. Backhander is blocked away. Carter threw one off the back of the cage. Mike Richards able to step to that one. Laid it to the back. Doughty a shot. That one blocked down. And a chance now for Kreider. Moving on in. No! Up high it comes and it's played on along by Richards.
Second breakaway he's had in this series, both of them in overtime. Didn't score on either.
20 to go. Fired around for Brad Richards. Laid back across now for Strawman. Strawman brings it on. He's got Brad Richards in front, but the shot was stopped by Quick. Poked high into the air. 5 seconds left, holding his stall. Through one that's blocked away by Carter. Neither guy saw it for a moment. Now it's sent back down the ice, and that's it. That's 1 or 4, depending on how you're counting.
Well, Chris Kreider made the play by blocking the shot, the little things, and not many players are going to be able to catch up to Chris Kreider, and what an arm save there by Jonathan Quick. Or maybe even off the blocker. And Jeff Carter, a couple of good looks. Great pass there from Mike Richards. Get inside, create the chance. And then Carter with an opportunity right after that that was denied by Dan Girardi.
So now we go to another overtime period. There have been a ton of shots. The leading shooter on the night, Justin Williams, with 6 for Los Angeles of their 42. Brad Richards with 4. Matt Zuccarello with 4 of the 25 registered by the Rangers. The organist is Dieter Ruhl. He went to the Olympics too. Played back ahead now to get it started. Rattled back in and along, it's taken by Strawman. And Strawman is able to control. Scaled off the glass and back out. Chipped on through Doughty. Around to get it Kreider. Put it off the back of the cage. Kopitar turning there. Nudged on now to Gabrick, who moves back out with Brown and Kopitar. Shoved on to Brown. Brown crosses. Sent one toward the net. But Kopitar had been turned by Kreider. Another shot. Whistled past the glove of Lundqvist. Popped on by Mitchell. Settled down by Kopitar. Wedged on. Point off a shot. Oh, and that one didn't go either. A deflection that may have gotten iron.
Jeff Carter in front of the net.
Kicked across for Zuccarello. The post has come up big again, as the crossbar did last period. And it is Voinov having it brushed around and Carter to get it there, and then Mike Richards battled it on, but it's carried on now by McDonough. McDonough holding, throwing one that came on a cross to the back. Girardi a drive, and that one blocked away by Carter. Flexed around behind in the confusion of a busted stick. Puck played along further and helped on back to Girardi. Shooting one, blocked there, carefully at the front of the cage. Voinov was the guy who got in the way of it. Kept along by Zuccarello. Pressure continues. Zuccarello driving around behind with it now. Looking for an option. Threw one in front that's shanked free. Backhander is set aside by Willie Mitchell. Played back up the boards by Carter. Settled down by Girardi and spun back in. A change of lines. It is an easier change in the second overtime than it was the first. Thrown back out by Williams. Grubbed back along by Stoll. It caroms to Lundqvist. Forced it back off the glass. Chopped free. And Williams can't get it. Dominic Moore can. Brought back ahead now by Klein. Hands it across. San Luis. A shot. Saved by Quick. Rebound poked along. And it's played along by Richards. Brushed along by Klein. San Luis shoved down by Green. Reversed right back to him. San Luis had the stick out of his hand. It's played by Green to Martinez and hurried up to King. Blown on across now and carried back by Williams. Fire stick save is made by Lundqvist. Popped on back along and reaching for it was King, but emerging around behind and stepping ahead with it is Stralman. Anton Stralman motors to the red line and throws it back in, so it's illegal play. Dorsett played it on further. It careened around behind, and yet again, it is played up to Clifford. That one flew past Toffoli, rifled on back by Stahl. Hagelin touched it back. Stralman got it there. The safe play on out, causing the linesman to duck. Worked back along by Muzzin, plowed further by Boyle, and pitchforked back out on the backhand of Lewis. So, Stralman. Then Hagelin, and back off the stick of Muzzin. Doughty reversed and was run into by Dorsett. Marching ahead with it now is Kopitar, eludes one. Kopitar brought it on again. Puts on the brakes and looks. Kopitar settling it down, got it along to Toffoli. A pass in front, ricocheted off Kreider. Thrown toward the net, but that cut off by Kopitar. Then Toffoli, a shot that is blocked away by Stepan. Shoveled up high and back to center where Mitchell denies Nash. So played ahead to Kopitar. Moves back on with Gabrick and drops to him. Gabrick's shot is carefully steered to the glass by Lundqvist. Turning Zuccarello, jostled down there by Brown, played on by Gabrick, and into him McDonough, and it's sent back out. Green goes back to play defensively and is able to outreach Brassard and steer it ahead to Dustin Brown. Brown with a little toe drag and a circle move, lost it to Zuccarello, cut off though by Mike Richards. Helped back across, and the Rangers are able to re-grab and start it out in the person of Girardi and back down to icing.
Good recovery there from Matt Zuccarello defensively.
Never seen a guy force more turnovers than Mike Richards. Amazing.
Pearson laid this one back in. Carter goes after it. Lundqvist right there, spun it away from Carter, but Richards blocked it down. Mike Richards jammed it along. Carter, who hit the post earlier, sees this one along now for Richards. Nudged onto the back, San Luis, and a pass is touched by Brad Richards, but gotten by Doughty. Then across to Muzzin. Doughty moves right back ahead. Able to step back in and push one wide. Down to the ice he goes. Fans want a penalty. No save. Back to center, reaching San Luis. Over skating, though, was Dominic Moore. Walked back in by Williams. Given on a cross for a shot by Stoll that's blocked high. Stoll with it again. Tries for Williams' second effort. Pressed there by Dominic Moore. Around behind Williams trying to turn, no luck. Stralman up with it there, nudged it along. Dwight King couldn't reach it. Hagelin and then Stralman staggers ahead and plays it on to Hagelin. Hagelin at center trying to turn. Michigan product holds and lobs one back in. Played along by Voinov, run into though by Dorsett. Voinov able to persist though and shake away. Gets a pass ahead that is carried back up by Toffoli. Toffoli marching back up the wing. Watched by Moore and a shot blocked away by Lundqvist. Drive by Mitchell is blocked down. Might be an odd man rush. Carried ahead by Kevin Klein. Moves back up the wing. Here's Klein beating one. Save made by Quick. Clifford with a hit. Dorsett driving. And a penalty is coming up.
Kyle Clifford hit Derek Dorsett from behind. Right in front of the Los Angeles Kings bench. The 2-on-1 with Klein and Boyle doesn't work. Clifford comes over and just plasters him from behind.
2-on-1 chance. Kevin Klein, good play there from Matt Green to not allow that puck to get over on the back door. First shift of overtime, the redirect from Jeff Carter off the post in behind Henrik Lundqvist. Breakdown in coverage. Carter's there, redirected. And the right call made there by the official on that hit from behind by Kyle Clifford on Derek Dorsett.
With a chance to force another game. Rangers to the power play, and it is Stepan. San Luis with it, trying to shake free. Oh, and it popped across as he had Kreider set up with a little bit of space. Kreider hands it on. San Luis plays it further. Got it back to Brad Richards, side of the net. Kreider boots and controls and hands to San Luis. Stepping in the way, Muzzin. San Luis yet again. Gets a little pass back from Kreider on back to Richards. Dropped onto San Luis. And San Luis looks. Gave it onto the back. McDonough's shot! And getting a piece of it. Probably was quick, but there's some jostling behind him and some wrestling near the front of the net. More exchanges. Stepan turning with it. Then San Luis. Brad Richards fires. Knocked down in front. Fought there by Muzzin. And he's able to clear. Nearing the halfway point of the penalty kill, and offside is called.
Boy, the Ranger power play has really turned the corner here in the last couple of games. The assistant coach that runs a lot of the power play, they've had some great looks. And they've had the LA Kings on the run when they've been shorthanded.
Green, and a long pass that goes back down to kill more time in the shorthanded situation. 50 to go on the Clifford minor. Girardi floated one back. Paddled away to the corner by Quick. Drilled back along, but into some traffic. Stripped was Pouliot. Puck to the back. Moore a shot. Save made by Quick. Rebound spun back by Brassard. Brassard holds there. Big drop Girardi. That one hit off the outside of the cage near the post. Onto the back it comes Moore. A stick broken. Brassard with it. Brassard just holding. Got it to the back now. Held by Girardi. Given on over to John Moore. Girardi playing catch with Moore. Shoots one. Knocked down in front. Battled for there and turned along by Pouliot. Back up the boards Moore. 13 left, penalty kill. Across now to Girardi. Pieces of a stick lying out there. Brassard holding. Laid it onto the back. Moore waits and gives on over to Girardi. Shoots one. Blocked up to the glass. It came down to Green. Long toss down the ice. They killed it off. Steered back across and offside. And a neutralized faceoff. 8:03 gone in the second overtime. At one point, over 5 minutes of continuous action. Action aplenty.
A post, a redirect. What opportunities. The shot from Dan Girardi, and there you see it breaks the stick of Matt Zuccarello, and what a stop by Jonathan Quick. As that puck came from one side of the ice to the other. Quick looking one way, gets in between the right arm and the right pad.
We're 2-2 with iron. Both teams have struck twice.
Those do not count as shots on goal. 46 shots by the Kings, 29 for the Rangers. And off of Williams and back in. Strawman to get it there. Reversed it along. Stahl rocked a bit by Dwight King. Up the boards, Williams. On back for a shot by Martinez that's cut off. Another stick is broken. It is that of Dominic Moore. Two pieces lying out there. Meanwhile, it's jabbed up the boards and Williams helps it back. Hurried shot. Blocked around behind and Lundqvist set it up there for Stahl. Stahl tried to play it. No. Stoll is able to intercept. Stoll's pass was blocked by Hagelin and sent back out to center. More changes in lines. Williams onside brought it ahead. Delayed and backhanded it in, hoping for King. King stalemates with Stepan coming by. Williams closed off by Strawman. Puck out to the front, but scooped away. And so it can be brought back up by Kreider. Rolled back past Martinez. Down to get it. Voinov. Worked along behind Voinov. Reaching in as Nash. Voinov prevailed. Staggering over the bench trying to get out was Dustin Brown, and he's able to remain in the play. Wraparound attempt would not work for Nash. Now it's Stepan. Nash! Oh, and that went blocked to the corner. Voinov got a piece of it. It looked like the net was wide open, and play is stopped. How many close calls can you have in a night or in a morning?
Rick Nash has a wide open net, and his puck gets deflected. The shot from Nash, right there, the stick of Slava Voinov prevents that puck, possibly it going at a wide open net. Incredible. That puck's going right in the net. And Voinov leading with this stick. And you see Rick Nash shaking his head, along with a high number of million Ranger fans across the world watching this game.
Brassard and Carter. And Muzzin. And out. And down. And an icing. Brassard and Carter tie up. Stepping to it is Zuccarello. Pestered away from him by Mike Richards. Settled down by Doughty. Connects back up to Richards. Moves back out with Pearson. Shoves it to the trailer. Muzzin. And it's center ice. Zuccarello lost the duel there to Richards, but it's controlled on back.
Boy, Pouliot got a good piece of Drew Doughty as that puck moved up the ice.
Icing again, and this time it'll come back near Henrik Lundqvist.
You know, Keith Jones and Mike Milbury made a great point about Drew Doughty, about the fatigue factor of a guy that has played a lot of hockey. Nobody playing more than Drew Doughty in the 7-game series for Drew Doughty, and the Rangers know it, getting a piece of him every opportunity they get.
40 minutes out of the 90. Grabbed by Quick, and he decides to hang on and watch the face-off near him. With Hagelin and Dorsett, it's one back for Strawman, and the shot pad stop rebound covered by Quick.
Great face-off there from Brian Boyle.
So now Mitchell, directed back out again by Gabrick, and back to get it is Hagelin. The speedster for the Rangers. Past the halfway point of the second overtime. Ryan McDonough with a pass, settled down by Boyle and lobbed in, but it is Mitchell. Brad Richards crossed up there by Dustin Brown. Girardi helped it the other way, and it's Dorsett. Floated on out to center and chopped free into the air and blasted in by Dorsett. Around the roulette wheel for Drew Doughty to play it. Doughty not sure and decides to just accelerate, but it's knifed off his stick and taken on by Dominic Moore. Moore played it back along, held there and rifled onto the back. Here's a try, and St. Louis was down on the ice. It is outletted on back, and it will not go as far as icing. John Moore to get it there.
Doughty lost his stick. Justin Williams gave him his stick.
King with a pass. Williams with it. Save made by Lundqvist.
Oh, a great opportunity at one end. And then back at the other end, it was Justin Williams who was using the stick of Tyler Toffoli. As I mentioned that he had given his stick to Drew Doughty when he lost it, so when Williams came back to the bench, the closest guy there that reached out was another right-hander, and that's Tyler Toffoli. So that chance, that shot on goal came with the stick of his teammate Toffoli.
Williams with another shot on goal for the night. His first one wound up going in. Off this tie-up, it goes for Lundqvist to pat behind. Strawman to connect to Nash. And Nash dropping it back, and Mitchell connecting on to Mike Richards. Moves up with Carter. Mike Richards delaying now. Through one that was right into the catching glove of Lundqvist, though Carter was at the front of the net.
These guys have won a lot. 2012 Stanley Cup with Los Angeles would be the final piece of winning they've done until this moment.
From the tie-up, it bounces free and is twisted along now for Pouliot. Feathers it back up for the carry back on by Zuccarello, brushed away by Martinez. Just about the time Zuccarello was looking for who he could pass to, Martinez denied him the puck. Strawman will chase this back down. Pearson and Carter are out for the Kings, along with Lewis. Zuccarello still out there, along with Brassard and Pouliot for the Rangers. The pass came right in the path of Martinez. Off of Lewis and brought back by Zuccarello and rolled back in.
Fatigue factor starting to kick in. Guys are just starting to get tired. Their legs, their arms, you can see it, all the turnovers.
The bouncer came out, whacked back in by Nash, slowed down by Green, and played back to him by Martinez. Martinez laid it back ahead to center, and it's curled back in and thrown on by Lewis, who's got it around to the net, shakes it wide. Along now it's Kreider, and it bounced off of Clifford. Clifford trying to muscle it along to Foley there, but we get a hand pass ruled, and so the faceoff will come out.
Yeah, that puck ended up on the dasher, right where the boards and the glass meet. Nice little play there from Trevor Lewis, the fourth line, centering the fourth line. Creating that chance, tried to move that puck off the boards, but it went off the right skate of Kevin Klein. Look at that effort from Rick Nash, really to force Trevor Lewis into making that play a little bit quicker than maybe he would like.
Girardi back to McDonough, and laid back, but as far as Doughty. Up loose and can be played across to Muzzin, and Muzzin rattles it back in. McDonough turns with it there. Bothered by Gabrick, shook it back up the boards. Brian Boyle, very responsible, popped it to center. Muzzin jabbed one along, took a heavy hit with Dorsett. Meanwhile, it's carried back, and that one directed on by Dustin Brown. Gabrick almost able to escape. A couple of Rangers collide. It's brought back on now by Kopitar. Kopitar whirling around behind with it now. Fed it over to Doughty, and a save made by Lundqvist.
Well, the collision, as you referenced, Doc, Brian Boyle, Marty St. Louis, puck separates. Here comes Anze Kopitar. And then the left part of your screen, here comes Drew Doughty. With the chance, Lundqvist perfectly positioned, no second chance opportunity.
What does a game look like that has 100 faceoffs? Don't know until now. 51 wins for Los Angeles, 48 for the Rangers. And Strawman. St. Louis, and ahead. Brad Richards off the glove, tucked out by Voinov, sent ahead for King, and back in. Stahl to play it there. Run off though, tumbling down a couple of Kings. King as well as Stoll. King back up to play it. Got it to Williams, and a scorcher over the glove of Lundqvist, and then it hops out of play.
Jared Stoll shaking up. He's reaching for his neck.
Girardi. Played ahead, and here comes Carter with Mike Richards. Drops it back to him. Richards, a shot on, and it went wide of a lurching Lundqvist. Back up is Nash. On the wing now to Kreider. Could not get by Doughty. But the two of them tangle around behind. Reaching it is Pearson, given to Mike Richards. Knocked off his stick and back out.
Doughty arguing with the official with the slash from Kreider behind the play in the back of the legs.
Here's Kreider trying to get in. Got it over for Lewis, and a save is made by Lundqvist on Trevor Lewis.
Confusion on the Ranger line change led to that chance.
Clifford around behind, can't get there. Girardi could, played it on to Brassard, laid on across. Connected up, McDonough on to Zuccarello and back in, and it's Martinez. Took the hit, played it along. Brassard trying to battle there with Clifford. Brassard trying to stagger free. Meanwhile, it's played along to him. Centering pass, flagged down by Green, played into traffic though. Starting back up with it now is Martinez in a 3-on-2. Clifford gave it across. It's held in a shot. Safe. Rebound. Score! The Stanley Cup! Martinez! Martinez, the winning goal scorer. The handshake line has begun. Jonathan Quick moves his way quickly through, and Henrik Lundqvist at the very end of the line. Both of them had periods of absolute brilliance in this playoff. Marty St. Louis and Drew Doughty, teammates for Canada at the Olympics. How shattered one must be, how elated the other, and there they are. It is the noble tradition. One has to wait while the other celebrates. And it will be a long and enjoyable summer for one. No reason to not have a proud summer for the other. Meanwhile, the celebration here. What do I do next? Well, you celebrated the goal after you scored it. How's that? You put on the hat, that's another. Toffoli and Clifford the assists on Martinez's goal.
Alec Martinez scored the OT winner in Game 7 in the Western Conference Finals against the Chicago Blackhawks. And he does it again to win the Stanley Cup. The fourth line does it for the LA Kings. Kyle Clifford, who had an outstanding game from the first period, Doc, you picked up on that. And Tyler Toffoli had one shift in the third period. And then Daryl Sutter gave him the opportunity. He gets the puck to the net, the big rebound, and the reaction from Martinez.
What does a cup-winning goal scorer sound like? Here we go with Pierre-Alex Martinez.
Thanks very much, Doc. It's been quite a playoff for you young men. Series-winning goal against Chicago, now a Stanley Cup-winning goal in double overtime. Take us through the winner.
I just saw there's a loose puck in my own end, and I just tried to get it in the forward's hands. I think Toffoli had a great shot, far pad, and fortunately the rebound came to me and I was able to put it in. Just a great play by them. I'm just the benefactor.
When you think about all the trials and tribulations your team has gone through this entire playoff season, how deep did you have to dig to score in double overtime here in Game 5?
Well, I mean, the New York Rangers are a hell of a hockey club, and we knew that this is going to be a tough series. There's a lot of guys that have been around. A couple years ago, we know the fourth one's definitely the hardest one to get, so that's what we were talking about in the locker room. We just had to dig deep and just keep grinding away. We believe that we were going to win this game.
And after Brian Boyle scored the shorthanded goal, you had to go into the dressing room. Who calmed everything down because you dominated the third period?
I think we just kind of did it by committee. We got great leadership in our locker room, and we've been in that situation before. So, obviously it's not the situation you want going into the locker room after the second, but we were able to battle back.
Congratulations on the Stanley Cup, and a lot of people in Michigan, a lot of people at Miami are very proud of you.
Thanks, Pierre.
Doc?
The playoff MVP is presented with the Conn Smythe Trophy, named for the longtime coach, GM, and president of the Toronto Maple Leafs. It can be a member from the losing team. Let's listen to hear who it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the ice for the presentation of the Conn Smythe Trophy to the 2014 Stanley Cup Playoffs Most Valuable Player.
Hello, Los Angeles. Congratulations on another championship. What an incredible night. The Conn Smythe Trophy goes to the most valuable player in the playoffs, who happens to be the leading scorer in the Stanley Cup Final, Justin Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Stanley Cup.
35 pounds, a yard tall, a half a yard across that base, over 2,300 names on it. They will be painstakingly engraved in late August after every guy has had a chance to share it. Many in small towns. It looks even better in person than it does on television, and it looks magnificent on TV.
What an incredible end to an incredible season. Thank you to the players, to the teams, and our fans, all of you. These Kings marched through California, defeated the defending Stanley Cup champ, and beat the Rangers in a spectacular final. It starts at the top with Phil and Nancy Anschutz, Dan Beckerman, Dean Lombardi, Luc Robitaille, and Daryl Sutter and the coaching staff. But it doesn't happen without these great players. For the second time in 3 seasons, it's my honor to present it to Dustin Brown.
Robin Regeer receives it first. Injured, but unable to play near the end. For your name to be on it, automatically, you must play 40 games in the regular season or 1 in the final. If you don't do either and they want you on it, they can just request it. And up to 52 names, you get it. How that must feel to Marian Gaborik.
Acquired by general manager Dean Lombardi. Give the Kings some depth. Give him a guy that's a pure goal scorer. And the chemistry between him and the man he just handed the trophy to. Pretty special stuff, Anze Kopitar.
The capping of a magnificent year. His father coached him for the Slovenian national team at the Olympics, and they celebrated a big win there, and here is Matt Green.
They're up there. Oh, that's nice. Woohoo!
Jarrett Stoll. There are 17 on this team who have had this experience as Kings before. Marian Gaborik was one of the guys who had not. Old stuff for Justin Williams 3 times. But it doesn't seem old, does it?